Woo! All right. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the SuperScope Podcast, your wrap up in the week's biggest gaming stories. We're back, episode 22, Sunday, February 13th, Super Bowl Sunday. I am your host, Retro Game Dude, and of course, joining me as always is my co host, Daisuke Aurora. Feel free to join the discussion live on Twitch and Discord, or if you're watching this on YouTube, tap the like button, hit the subscribe button. It goes a long way, and we always appreciate it. And let us know if we missed anything that you wanted us to cover in the comments, and we'll see if we can talk about it next week. You can also find the audio version of this on Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. So just go ahead and search us there. It's easy to find. So Daisuke, how are you doing this week?
Good. I was pretty happy with the new Smash character they announced. Oh wait, that's not a thing we have to do anymore.
Nope. No more. Oh man.
No, good. Same busy. The usual.
Definitely. All right, so stream-wise, we had a good week. I didn't do a stream. We're going to do Gartic Phone Wednesday, but with work stuff, decided against it. So we did a Arceus stream the next day. Turned out to be pretty cool. Just a nice, chill, relaxing stream. And then, of course, we had Jackbox. We had a big turnout last night. Our friend Kiki was having her 1-year stream anniversary, so she kind of came out, and then we had a big turnout. Turned out to be pretty cool. We played a little Gartic Phone, then switched back to Jackbox, and we had a good blast. It was nice. Chat was popping. We had a really good stats for last night's stream, so it was really good to see. Good to see that growth. That's what we're here for. So, what do we got on the schedule? We're going to be kicking off some Destiny again this week on Tuesday. And then we're going to be doing a full Gartic Phone stream on Wednesday. See if we can get some people playing that. We also have, again, of course, Jackbox on Saturday. So what are you playing this week, sir?
I mostly played Arceus this week, actually.
Ooh. Not much to do in Final Fantasy this week, huh?
Well, there's really, we're at the point now where it's mostly just raids that we would do. Sure. If we get a bunch of people, we can do map nights. We can do... things like that, but we've gotten most of our normal gear now, so mostly it's just doing the Savage raids, or if we do things like treasure maps or something.
Sure. Yeah, we'll have to get into that. Market's been kind of dead for me, so I just really haven't been on. I've been leveling my archer a little bit. I could probably do one more dungeon and get the bard job, but just haven't gotten there yet.
30. Yeah. I think we should group up people and see if we can start doing because you still have a lot of content you're missing that we can run with you, at least for the one time through, just to get you, because you didn't do the Nier stuff for Nier Automata.
Right.
And I think you're missing raids. Yeah, and I think you're missing the 24-man raids in the middle. Was it Heavensward's 24-man raids? Where it was done scathe and all that?
Yeah, because we keep getting the three starter alliance raids.
The 3 starter ones, yeah.
It's weird because I haven't seen we've done a couple of the Rabanastre raids, but I haven't seen them pull up a few. Maybe you have to have them all done.
Those ones, I don't know. Those ones don't come up very often, I think, is what it is.
Strange.
They are, because a lot of people. Yeah, they are. I think it's because usually when people are looking to do those, because usually it tries to matchmake you with people who are doing their first time.
Sure.
And I don't think there's a lot of first timers in those Rabanastre raids because you had to do them for Shadowbringers.
Right.
So whenever you queue for the 24-man. Yeah, so whenever you queue for 24-man, if one person's looking for the Evilise Tower, it's going to cram everybody in there with that guy to make sure he can clear.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff is more common to be needed right now than... Because new players are hitting that, whereas the only time you're hitting Rabanastre is either A, you chose to go in there because I don't know why, or B, you're just getting into Shadowbringers for the first time, and there's not a lot of people in that exact window, that's narrow window. But we can open the other side from Heavensward, and we can. There's a bunch of I feel there's a bunch of other random dungeons you don't have open and trials and stuff that are fun.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, anytime you're available, man, just hit me up because I'll make time to.
Tom Terra Deepcraft Hard. I need to do that one for you, dude. It's wild. It's long story short, crazy lady that we talked to, her husband died.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to resurrect his soul in our body, and that's why we're there. She lured us in and was yeah, come help me, I'm in trouble. And we showed up, and she was kind of surprised. It's a horror dungeon. And you're oh god, there's body parts everywhere, and
Oh,
Oh, it's messed up. It's
so
all messed up, but it's
so that's
great.
not the Tower of the Dead. That's a different thing.
No, that's
Okay,
a different thing. Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. And
Yeah, I still want
there's
to do Heaven on High because of that fucking Reaper Scythe.
yeah, we still have to finish because we're in the last set, aren't we? For the deep dungeon.
Yeah, I think so. Then we can unlock the Heaven on
Yep.
High. I can at least unlock the Heaven on High, and we can start doing that for that scythe. So that'll be pretty
And
dope.
in gaming news, which I just found out the other day, Yoshi was on a Korean podcast and he mentioned that somebody was like, "Oh man, I wish we could get a new Heaven on High because I like that." And he was like, "Well, fun fact, we're making another Heaven on High and it's coming in the 6.x patches."
Oh,
So he
nice.
surprised announced that we are getting a third deep dungeon now.
Cool, man.
That's cool.
Well,
Yeah, we should
play the
definitely play
same
those last
mechanics
two
as like
first.
the other two.
Yeah, it'll probably be the same. I mean, the second one had improvements over the first,
Mm-hmm.
so I imagine this third one would have improvements over the second one.
Nice. I'm
Um,
definitely looking forward to that.
they added more to do. Like, there's rooms where like one floor can be like one big room with a bunch of treasure chests, but there's like a bunch of mimics and there's a bunch of traps going on, and you have to like navigate the room and then get out.
Sure.
And there's other stuff that happens too, but I forget what else. And that was the big change I remember was the treasure rooms that are full of monsters and mimics, and it's a weird room. Like it's a big empty room, like a just big square room. So those were cool. But yeah, so we have to do that because you'll probably have to clear Heaven on High to some extent to get into the new one,
Sure.
just like you had to do the first one for the second one.
Right. Yeah, I'll be proactive with that.
And the last boss for the regular deep dungeon that we're in now, the floor 50 boss, is the same sick lady who wants our body as the Tamtura Deepcraft lady.
Okay.
She we beat her at the end of Tamtura Deepcraft, and it's a nightmare scene. She like backs up to the ledge and she just topples over and commits suicide, like giggling.
See,
And
that's
you're like,
that's
okay,
why
fine.
that's why I asked because it almost seemed like it was like the same. It just kind of felt like it was like the same person. That's why I asked.
Yeah, it is the same lady.
Interesting.
She wants us again, I guess. I don't remember exactly how that works, but it's her again. She's still alive.
Nice.
So yeah, please look forward to it.
Please look forward to it. Yeah. What am I playing this week? Of course, I'm playing Arceus. I think I just got my 5th or 6th star. I don't really know much beyond that. I think I got my 5th on stream. I got my 6th off stream. And
Yeah,
I was out.
I'm about there.
Yeah,
5.
I was out in that coastal area for like such a long time that I could just basically trade in my star level for like twice. So I'm like, okay, that was cool. Of course, playing Destiny 2, just kind of getting back into the groove of things, especially for Witch Queen dropping. Ooh, and I got my big toy today.
Oh yeah.
Ah, the Witch Queen collector's box set. This thing is enormous. It came with a bunch of cool stuff, including the psychometer. This guy here. And this thing has, I guess, it came with a bunch of stuff. It came with a poster, came with a book. It was like a dossier of all of the hidden warlocks that work for Ikora, on all the research they've done so far, an ID card, and the ghost head. And I think one other thing I'm missing, but they all had RFID chips in them. And the RFID chips read on the psychometer, and you tune in channels until they read, and it unlocks audio content. And it's all part of a puzzle to unlock another part it's kind of in the book. So you have to unlock a puzzle, and it spells something out. I'm not going to ruin it for people who are playing Destiny, but yeah, it's like the first half of the puzzle that we have to solve for this Witch Queen thing. The second half isn't going to come out until I think Witch Queen is revealed, or actually releases. So yeah, I'll keep an eye out on that. But it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
I'd like to say you may not want to ruin it for the audience. I'll ruin it for the audience. It says Bad Wolf. Figure that
Bad
out.
Wolf. Dun. So it's cool. They went like all out with this thing. So you turn it on. It's got some audio on it. It does like a little self check here. I already have the dials tuned in so that this will light up. This took me hours to figure this out, but that lights up and you hear it. It's loading up. That sound means it's actually loading up content.
That's cool.
It's about to play it. It plays like Savathun's song.
Savathun's song. You mean that Don't Come Down Here?
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
I feel bad.
It's bizarre, to say the least.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most elaborate things I've seen in a collector's edition, especially Destiny's. So yeah, it's pretty wild.
Dude, I always felt bad about that because, like, back in D1 days, I was getting collector editions at first because they had this sort of mystery and allure. They came with like the strange coin. They came with like maps and things, but they never actually had a resolution to anything. They never did anything with it. It was just fodder, I guess. Like there wasn't like anything to solve with it.
Here's the
It
best
just
part.
seemed like there should be. You know what I mean?
Here's the best part. So all the old shit that came in those collector's editions also have RFID chips in them, and they all interact with this. So that's like,
cool.
Yeah, they never talked about it.
Right.
So yeah, the strange you can put the strange coin on that thing and it'll do something. I don't obviously have the strange coin, but yeah, it's pretty wild that they kind of like future proofed this whole thing coming to a head now. So
that's cool then. Yeah. All right, I'll give you credit for that. Yeah, it just sucks that it took 10 years to do that or whatever.
Right. Another game I've been checking out called Choice Chamber. I don't know if you've seen this one, Daisuke, but you and I were talking about doing the those retro games where you can like play as mods, like the audience will vote. Each channel.
Oh yeah, the crowd control.
Crowd control. Yep. Yeah. So Choice Chamber is like that, but it's built in, and
that's cool.
It's like a side-scrolling puzzle, kind of like a rogue-like, I guess you could say, and the audience gets to vote on like what happens in the game. So you get like they vote on your weapons, vote on like what the ads do, vote on like the room sizes, the complexity of the rooms. It's pretty dope. So I'm probably gonna sneak that into a stream at some point. I might do a surprise stream that's off the schedule just to kind of check it out. But yeah, I certainly invite everyone to come along and play with it because you can take all your aggressions out on me.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, come by and fuck with me on that game. I love it. All right.
Yeah, definitely.
And then don't forget social media accounts too. We are Game Dude Retro at Twitter and Instagram, and of course Retro Game Dude on Twitch and TikTok. Make sure you follow me on TikTok too. If I get 1,000 followers on TikTok, then I can stream on there as well and do different content than I would normally do on Twitch. So
nice.
Yeah. Appreciate it if people could come out and follow me on that. It would really be very helpful. So what do we have this week? We have one thing to talk about, and that's one big thing, and that's the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, so I think Nintendo did a thing, didn't they?
They did a thing.
Like they do.
Overwhelmingly, pretty good Direct, I would think. Nothing that was like crazy curveball wise, with the exception of maybe like one or two titles. I think a lot of the stuff was generally expected, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it means that Nintendo's going in the direction that their audience wants. And that's
sure.
I think it's kind of fair to say. So
I think
go ahead.
I think like the surprises they threw at us were either things that got kind of spoiler leaked or things that were like, yeah, no brainer. Of course, this is getting another thing or this is getting more content. So yeah, like you said, it was like half the surprises were like, hey, that thing that you wanted, and then half the surprises were like things that we'd heard about through a grapevine there or something.
Yeah,
so, we heard a good show. Just like we knew it was coming.
Yeah, we saw some things get confirmed from that NVIDIA leak. Still, that's still a thing. So we definitely got a confirmation on that,
which is awesome because 9 was in there.
9 was in there. Yeah, so I'll be interested to see what happens with that, man. Even if we got like a 2.5D 3D kind of looking remake, that would be I'd be happy with that.
Oh, dude, that'd be cool.
I don't need something that looks like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I just something that's like a little bit of a graphical update. I'd be happy with.
Oh yeah, dude.
So Nintendo Direct kicked off the trailer with Fire Emblem Warriors. Probably not the Fire Emblem we were expecting to get, but another Warriors game nonetheless. I don't have much to do with this game as much. I haven't played it much. By much I mean none at all. So yeah, I don't have the opinions on it. I'm sure people who are Warriors fans, they're all about it. Great for them. It's just not a franchise I've really been too high into.
That's fair. If I remember correctly, too, the way this is working is the Fire Emblem, because what is this called? It's like Fire Emblem 3 Hopes.
I think so. It seems like it's like off of 3 houses or something, but
it's off of 3 houses. Yeah,
I didn't recognize
because you can see
the characters from the 3 houses, but it's been.
I only recognize one of them. I only recognize the one dude from 3 houses, and that's because he was the dude who was on the cover upside down, and it was like memed all to hell and back.
Gotcha. Fair.
That's fair. But yeah, I guess like if you're a fan of the 3 Houses games, this is like a extension. It's actually not an extension of the story of 3 Houses. It's like an alternate universe of 3 Houses where the events of the game went differently.
Interesting.
Which is wild because Three Houses is already like an alternate Fire Emblem. I don't know. Fire Emblem timelines are wild. Like
Right.
they just randomly have heroes come back here and there. Like sometimes like what is it? I played the last one I played was on the 3DS. It was Awakening.
I love
And
Awakening,
like
man.
Awakening was great, but like the story was a little muddled because it was like, yeah, here's your story, and then here's Crom, and here's Lucina, but she's actually called Marth, but she's not Marth. But here's Marth, and Marth is her dad, but he's here now, and you're like, wasn't Marth like a legendary hero from the other game? And they're like, yep, that's also the same Marth, and you're like, great.
We're not going to address it though, and that's fine.
Yeah. You're like, all right,
gameplay
cool.
wise, I really liked Awakening. It
was great gameplay. It just got so convoluted. I got to the point where I was like, all right, just let me do the fight. Like, let me do the next fight. Like,
that's kind of where I was with Three Houses. I was like, oh my god, there's so much fucking dialogue, and people are like, well, it's all optional. It's like it's optional, but it's rewarding. It's like it's giving you items in the game, so it's like you feel obligated to do it because it's like, oh, this could be a healing item that I could need, and it's like.
Sure.
So you sit through all the dialogue, and it's like, god damn, there's a lot of it. So that kind of turned me off. I actually never finished that. Another game I haven't finished.
Come to think of it, something about Three Houses gives me the same vibe as like Final Fantasy's like what was that game? Final Fantasy like not Agito. Type Zero? Like that school game where they were all in college and they were all like different people at the school. It reminds me of that, and they probably have nothing to do with each other. But for some reason, the vibe I get from Three Houses is that same sort of vibe I get from Type Zero, where it's like, it's going to be slice of life-y, which I like sometimes, but not necessarily in a video game. And also, like you said, it's not going to be slice of life that I can just go around when I want to. It's slice of life that I feel like I have to watch because they give me like an elixir at the end.
Right, exactly.
So I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Maybe I'll get a cool sword for this. And then like 80% of the time they give you like a potion, and you're like, oh. But then like sometimes you don't do it, and you're like, how do I get like this legendary dragon weapon? And they're like, well, did you not talk to like Lucina about her like noodles for dinner? And you're like, no, I didn't talk to Lucina about her noodles. I'm like, well, why else you didn't get a dragon weapon? You didn't talk to Lucina about her ramen.
Asshole, you didn't sit there and spend 45 minutes in dialogue. Fucking hell.
Like, how was I supposed to know which person's dinner was the one that would give me like? I asked 3 other people about their dinner, and they all gave me like 10 gil and a potion. Like,
yeah. Exactly.
Dumbass. Like, how did you not know? Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
I'm memeing on it. I mean, I can't talk. There's probably people who really like this game who are going to see this and be like, fuck that guy. And it's deserved because I never played it.
Yeah, trust me. I'm not gatekeeping the game whatsoever. If you love this game, that's great. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah.
Overall.
I'm not going to shit on it. But, I mean, it's just, we're more or less addressing the issues of the Three Houses more so than the Emblem Warriors game, but
sure. Oh, dude, and the memes for Smash when they announced Byleth, it was great because they made fun of the fact that they were putting in a sword fighting character. Like they picked on the people who were mad about it. They were like, "Oh, sword character!" Like that was great. Did you ever see that trailer for that? It was incredible. Oh, like Byleth shows up and they're like, "Oh, Byleth," and like she like fights some people. And then she gets beat up by some people. Like, the Mega Man trailer where, like, he wins some fights, but then he gets beat up, and then, like, they cut to another part.
Right.
And, like, she comes back to talk to, like, the goddess thing, and the goddess thing's like, what's that you say? Another sword character, they're saying. And then she gives you, like, the 3 weapons, like, the big spear and the battle axe and, like, the chain sword thing. Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, like, let's see him complain about a sword character now. And, like, they throw you back in there with all these other abilities. Like,
that's great.
Oh, it's so funny. Oh, and I think the first Byleth was a dude, and they were like, wow, they say you're just a sword character, and they don't want another Fire Emblem sword character? What are you going to do to be different? And then she gives you the weapons, and then they're like, oh, what else? And then like they have, like, you can be female Byleth, and it was like, there you go, everybody shut up. Like, waifu Byleth, and she's not a sword character. Have fun.
Nice.
Oh, it was amazing. The whole trailer was great. Very aware of their community, like, picking on them for it. They were like, stay mad.
That's great.
Oh man,
it's not a good look.
But yeah, the Warriors games we've seen, obviously, Dynasty Warriors. We've sin Zelda get a Warriors spinoff or 2. Mm-hmm. What other one got a popular Warriors one? Wasn't there one other game franchise that got a Warriors spin? Maybe it was Fire Emblem, right? Wasn't there already a Fire Emblem Warriors?
Yeah, there's already been a Fire. Yeah, this is not this.
Okay,
this is Fire Emblem.
Gundam.
Oh,
Gundam
really?
Gets Warrior games sometimes. Yeah, right? Didn't Gundam get, like, Dynasty Warriors Gundams?
I don't know. I know
I have to Google
PlayStation
it
got
because I
one. I
might
think
just be
every
an
console
asshole.
got their own, didn't they? Like Dynasty Warriors with like their own IPs in the game.
Yeah, I don't know about like an Xbox one. I know for sure that like because Dynasty Warriors was kind of a PlayStation game, wasn't it, for the longest time?
Possibly.
Um.
Well, I think Nintendo got a
Oh my
Warriors
god.
game a while back. This is back in like Xbox 360, PS3 era. I'm
Oh,
thinking of.
okay. You know what I'm thinking of? I mean, there's been a few like a Fist of the North Star got one. The Ken's Rage game was basically a Warriors game made by the Warriors crew.
Hmm.
Dynasty Warriors Gundam is a thing. There's like three of them. That's what I was thinking. But they actually there's like five of them. Holy shit. Um, a few years back, there was a One Piece Pirate Warriors that got
Jesus,
like multiple iterations. Like I think there's like three or four of them as well.
of course.
Um, yep, that's what I was thinking. Was the One Piece one was the other one. Persona 5 Strikers. How does that count?
I don't
Is
know.
that a Warriors game? That's not a
I don't
Warriors
think
game, is
so.
it?
I don't believe it is, but I mean, I don't know enough
I
about the game to be honest.
I googled a list of like Warriors spin-offs so I could see what was there, and the top game on the list was Persona 5 Strikers, and I have some questions. Oh my god, my Google's yelling at me in the other room, like it's trying to help me find out. He's yelling at me from the next room about the same
Nice.
article I just looked up.
That's amazing. God bless
She heard
technology.
me say it. That's
Uh,
incredible. My wife's all mad about it. She's like in the other room, and Google's
Girl,
rattling off
shut the
Dynasty
fuck up.
Warriors titles. Like, yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh my god.
So, Fire Emblem Warriors that comes out June 24th. So yeah, I mean, if you're all about that title, it's there for the taking. I'm guessing pre-orders are probably up soon, especially on Amazon. So up next was another. We got some more information on Advance Wars, the 1 and 2 reboot camp. That is coming out April 8th. And the more and more I look at this game, as far as a tactics game, I'm really thinking that like that Metal Slug Tactics is like going to be like the tactics game this year. Um,
Yeah.
I saw someone kind of akin this to Paw Patrol, like the sprites, and like
Oh
I
my god.
don't know, I can't really. The graphics are just not the best. I'm still gonna play the hell out of this game because it's still good. I mean, mechanically, it's still gonna work the same. Um, I really wish they would have given you like the option to maybe like switch back to like the retro graphics, maybe. But they're
Yeah.
so averse to putting Game Boy Advance games on like anything.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't know
get
what
it.
their
It's so
fucking problem
weird.
is with it, to be honest. But yeah, so that's coming out April 8th. I'll definitely be picking that one up for sure. I put hours into that game in college, man. Big time hours.
Dude, like that was one of like for me, I think it was high school. That was one of like the like bus ride to school in the morning Game Boy games was
Hell
like
yeah.
nonstop, dude. But I never played the second one. That was what was like the black hole something.
Yeah, that one will be included. I didn't play the one on the DS. Why I started it, but I never finished it. I was just kind of burnt out by the franchise at that point. But yeah, me and my roommate, man, we used to play that game. We would get milk crates, and like for some reason, it was like the dumbest shit. We would get milk crates and sit on our school elevator and just link cable it and play it there. And people would be like,
There you go.
"Okay," and they were like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "This is what the cool kids are doing now." They're like, "Oh, fair enough."
Can't complain.
Nope.
Oh, fun fact, I did a little digging here over here on a website whose name I won't say because it might set off my electronics. But yeah, Persona 5 Strikers was developed by the Dynasty Warriors team. It's a crossover.
Wow. Hmm.
I had no idea it was a Warriors game.
Me
I
neither.
didn't have a clue. Well, there you go. There's another Warriors game for people who like Warriors games. Bringing you hot news as soon as we find out about
Right.
it.
Next up, we had they announced No Man's Sky. No specific date. They just said it's coming in the summer. That's a game that I really always wanted to get into, but never had the time. I don't know. The gameplay footage that they showed though is pretty impressive. I don't know if that was rendered on the Switch or not. But again, it's like the Switch is one of those things where it's like you see something like Pokemon Arceus and you're like, "Oof, this is the best the system can do." And then you see something like Xenoblade, and you're like, "Holy shit, this is a beautiful game." So I don't
Right.
know. Maybe they could pull it off or not. I don't know. I don't think that what they showed was actual gameplay footage, but again, it's a game I really wanted to get into for like the longest time. I don't know if I'll pick it up. I have it on like the PlayStation, I think. I think it was like a free game
Right.
for a month or something like that, and I picked it up. I liked what I played, but it's like one of those games where it's like you really need to have friends to play it with, to really get like the best out of it, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, I played it like at launch, and like it was an interesting concept, but it was such an empty game. Like not content wise, because like all the planets were obviously super procedurally generated and full of
Hmm.
random things. There was always things to mine with your laser or like things to look for, but like it always felt like empty worlds.
Sure.
Like you know how like the worlds are in FF14 where it's like, yeah, they're big worlds and there's like town areas and there's mobs running around, but like you know it's an MMO because like nothing dynamic happens between those areas and
Right.
even in those areas. It's just cutscenes and that's kind of it. That's what No Man's Sky felt like at launch. And like I never could get into it, and I ended up putting it back down and never picking it up again.
Hmm.
And what they showed us at the Switch Direct just now, when they showed us that, like, it doesn't look like the same game at
No.
all. There's so
No.
many new things and so many components that weren't there at launch that, like, it doesn't even feel
100%.
like the same game anymore.
Well, they had that like that
Um,
massive update to bring it up to what the expectations were finally like a few years ago. That's when I actually picked
right.
it up, and it's really good for at the time. And that
Yeah.
was a couple of years ago, and just playing it then, um, I was able to get to like a space station in space and kind of fly around and do a lot of stuff on the planet as far as like resource gathering and learn like the basics of the game as far as like building stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that there's a lot there to be enjoyed, and it's like again, it's finding the time to do it, and it's getting friends together to play it. And I don't think it's one of those things where you can really plan to have your friends around or not, because you have to like I don't know if you
Yeah,
like
because you spawn randomly.
spawn
I don't
right.
know how that works
I don't know
now.
if you control where you spawn or not. So yeah, I'll have
Yeah,
to
that
look
was
into that.
confusing because initially it was like when you started a game, it put you somewhere in the universe,
Hmm.
and it just sucks. That's where you are. If your friends are far away, they're far away, and you'll have to find each other. But
Right.
then it came to pass that you couldn't even do that, and then I know they eventually made it so you can do that. And I would hope they made a system to like find people easily or go to people because that seems like a pain if it's like they're literally 3 months of game time away, and you're like,
Right.
okay, I guess I'll meet you there in 3 months. You think getting people through the beginning of 14 to catch up to you is bad. Imagine looking at people being like, yeah, play this game for 30 days without me every day until we catch
Right.
up to each other. Like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
that doesn't
you
sound
don't know.
pleasant.
Maybe you have to like build certain technology to even find them in a galaxy at first. So
Yeah,
like a galaxy map or something like that, you might not have access to like a certain size of the galaxy until you can get to a certain point. I don't know. But I'm just speaking on my ass because I just don't know enough about the game. But
right.
again,
Same. Couldn't say.
one of those things. I don't know. But would that you think that would be cool? A cool game in like portable mode, something to just kind of like bug out with, or
Yeah, it seems like it'd be a cool option. I mean, the only problem with that is like this is one of those years where I mean, so far the first half of the year has been like this, and I imagine it'll follow the whole year. Is like there's a lot to play in short windows. Like, and it depends on what kind of player you are, because like obviously like I'm not playing Witch Queen, and I don't play like Souls games. So for me, this month is actually pretty dry because like I'm not doing Elden Ring and I'm not doing Witch Queen.
Mhm.
But I know that is eating one of those is eating a lot of your time, and both of those is going to eat Dark's entire life, for example. So
right?
like but like in March, if I remember correctly, is like the Kirby game and like Project Triangle Strategy, and so maybe in March I'll be busy. You know what I mean? And maybe you
Sure.
guys will be like, we don't care about those as much. I mean, obviously we all like Kirby, but like we hit these weird windows where like you guys will play something I don't care about, or me and you will play something that Dark doesn't care about, or whatever, and we end up this weird rotating sort of thing. And but there's always so much in the first half of this year, especially with the Nintendo Direct. They announced all these games, and they were all for the first half of this year.
Right.
So like, I don't know if I would have time to pick up No Man's Sky and do something with it. I like me and you both already sit here on this backlog of games we want to play and don't do them. I can't imagine like just kind of cramming No Man's Sky in there would go anywhere near the top of that list. Like,
Oh, 100%. That's
I don't know.
that's
I
it's
mean,
just like I don't know if this is a game that you could just kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna sit down on the couch and just kind of kick back with this, or one. I don't have the time for that anymore. Um,
yeah,
and
no,
then
I agree.
you're already looking at like what Elden Ring,
Elden
Witch Queen coming out, the New Horizon game
Ring.
coming out. That's what all in a
Oh
span of
yeah,
a week.
Horizon. That's
Um,
all like in 2 weeks or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
brother. I mean, that's a lot of games right there. I can tell you, I'm only going to be playing like one of those three because I still have to yet to play the first Horizon because again,
Ooh,
backlog.
yeah. Yeah.
So
No, yeah, for sure. I'm on the same boat with like a lot of that stuff because like a lot of these franchises, like like what is that? I put up in the Discord the other day. I was like, oh, list of games people want me to play, and like 5 or 6 games went on that list, none of which I even thought about. So now I'm like, okay, that's actually nothing that's on my list. So now I have that and my own list. Like, and I saw like this dude's still looking at me, like telling me to do a thing.
Play the game.
And then like his buddies are getting the sequel on Switch in April, and I'd want to finish it before I play that.
Right.
But then I never played Nier Automata. I never played Nier Automata because I was like, well, I'll play Reincarnation, and then I never played Reincarnation. So now I have like 2 Nier games that I want to play, and now I have like Persona I never got to play. It's on my PlayStation, and it's like everyone's like, dude, Persona is amazing, and I'm like, I know, it's right there. And I just got Persona Strikers on my PlayStation for free, which apparently is a Warriors game, which I didn't know either. So now I have that to play. Like,
when's your next Chrono Trigger stream? Tomorrow, right?
It's
tomorrow,
listen,
right?
What is tomorrow? Monday?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah, I can tomorrow. One of the big reasons why I never do Monday streams is because it was overlapping with
Community Night. We got rid of it.
Community Night.
Yeah, we got rid of it,
and
baby.
now it's moved into the week. I suppose I technically could. Why is she yelling Chrono Trigger? You do not yell Chrono Trigger in our chat. Mods, do something with this lady. She's being belligerent. But no, yeah, I have to finish Chrono Trigger so I can maybe play. Oh my god, it would be a Valentine's Day Chrono Trigger stream. That's actually really funny. Maybe that'll be a thing that I do then. But yeah, so I have Chrono Trigger, and I'd like to do the Chrono Cross when it comes out because I did Trigger. I still have to do Bloodborne for Dark because I never finished that game. I still have to do a bunch of Final Fantasy games because I never did that. At least I'm not alone in that. You also have to do Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, but I've played most of them already. I'm just doing it for the Twitch. I'm just doing it for the stream.
See, my big thing was I wanted to do it because I love Final Fantasy, and yet somehow I never played like 1, 2, 5, 6, and 8. And 1 and 2, a lot of people were like, okay, you know, I get it. Those are like old. 5 and 6 were like, 5 was like, okay, sure. 6 was like, that needs to be played for a lot of people. And then I guess 8 counts as a Final Fantasy game, right?
It sure does.
Okay, fair enough.
Dude, that game was so slept on, man. It slept on so hard.
Pick a podcast topic demanding a Valentine's Day Chrono Trigger stream. Okay, fair. All right, I'll endeavor to do that because I did get my OBS set up so that everything functions and it's back in place, except for like some of my graphics I think are just in the wind. So I'll have to just slap my name over the top of the bar and be like close enough.
Okay.
But it works. It's functional. Oh, and I want to do my thing we talked about. I want to start doing streams once a week where I do crowd control and just get mad or whatever.
Nice.
That seems to be fun.
That was a sad thing. We didn't see anything from Silk Song on this.
Oh, man. I know, dude. That would have made it for me. That would have been my big thing.
I think something that was surprised a lot of people too was Mario Strikers was announced.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I saw some clamorings on Twitter, people predicting it. A lot of like more prominent YouTubers were like, "No, that's not going to happen." And sure enough, boom, here it is. And that is
usually something like that. Something like that is A, they don't bother keeping it under wraps because it's a sports game, and then like B, it's not. I don't know. It's just one of those games where like it's not really a surprise. Like I don't know. I guess that is like that first point, right? Like they don't usually keep that stuff under wraps because no one really cares. So usually when something like that's being made, like it just kind of casually leaks and everyone just goes like, all right. Like, and that's it. I don't know. It was interesting how they kept that like kind of hidden, and they like went off on it. They were like, "We're gonna set up a league and clubs and stuff." Yeah, and it was like, okay, it's like all right.
It's gonna be pretty. They're going like all in on that online shit. Like it's nice to see that they're finally embracing some like really deep online mechanics. Something like having clubs and like tournaments and shit. That's crazy.
It'd be nice if people could talk to each other.
It would be nice. It would be nice, but that's what Discord's for.
Don't you people have phones? Yeah.
Oh God. So, yeah, of course, Mario Strikers being like a soccer style game. A lot of people seem to be pretty big fans of it. Again, not a game I've really delved into too much. Just not really my thing.
Yeah, same.
Definitely look. Claire wants Kirby. Oh, definitely. My daughter found out about Kirby already, and she's like, "You're buying that for me, right?" I'm like, "I guess so." So yeah, it
Oh,
looks like
dude,
it
are you
looks like a pretty
kidding?
good Kirby game though. That last one on the Switch was rough. It was like a 10-minute fucking playthrough. I'm like, really? This is like the whole game?
Yeah, but see now the difference is we get mouthful mode, and no one's gonna do anything bad with that.
No, not at all. We haven't already seen memes about it.
Did you see the one where it's like the two dudes on the bus and the sad guy and the happy guy, but they're both just in like a bus with like Kirby eating the bus? Like,
No, that's
I was like, oh
amazing.
no.
That's
It was
amazing.
yeah, it was like the two perspectives or whatever, and it's just like,
Nice.
oh no.
All right, so we got some new info on Splatoon 3. That's coming this summer. They haven't given us a specific date yet, but they did give us some more information on the co-op mode Salmon Run. I believe that was previously
Salmon
in
Run.
2. This
Yeah,
looks a
this is
little bit
like the
different,
third
though.
wave
Yeah, so
or something weird. Yeah,
I'm pretty excited for
maybe the
Splatoon. That
second
is a
wave.
really great fucking game. It looks awesome. Can't wait for Splatoon. Absolutely. I had a blast with it when it first came, the Splatoon 2 when it came out on the Switch. Never played the first one. I didn't get a Wii U until I think after I had the Switch already. But yeah,
Oh
Splatoon's
wow.
dope.
Yeah.
A really good time. Really good time. I think they kind of missed the ball with the matchmaking on the second one on the Switch. You couldn't play with friends, so you just kind of had to get lucky. If you got into your lobby with a friend, that was great.
That's a little odd.
Yeah, so I think that's I think they're changing that for this one. The matchmaking on 2 ruined it. I totally agree. I probably would have stuck around longer on it if they had that. But yeah, me and Bob, we took the tournaments. I think like the first couple that came out, and we would just like message each other like, "Hey, I got this far." He's like, "Cool, I'm this far." Cool, I guess. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. So that is coming out this summer. Again, still no release date on that, but yeah, please look forward to it.
Let's look forward to it. Oh yeah.
And we have Front Mission getting a remake, Front Mission 1 and 2. Front Mission coming out this summer again. No date for that one, but they did say that Front Mission 2, if you enjoy tactical robot games, that's getting a sequel, a remake as well. So it's nice to see definitely some old IPs coming out of the woodwork here.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Square's like, hey, you know what? We have old games we haven't touched in near 2 decades. Maybe we'll dust these off and get them out and make some money on these games that people want. Who'd have thought?
It was nice to see that a few of them were like not just like IP rehashes or remakes, but like games we never got US stateside. We're starting to get like moved over or like worked on.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for a few years now because it feels like they did that with like I want to say like Trials of Mana, like the original Trials of Mana got its like brought over to America for the first time as part of that collection package. And obviously, you'll see later in this direct announcement they talk about things like Live Alive
Mm-hmm.
and stuff getting its port over, or like the Earthbound stuff and all that. But like, it just feels like Nintendo for the last few years has been better about giving us things that were Japan only for a while. Not like
Cough,
entirely,
cough,
because there's
Mother
obviously
3.
still things.
Cough, cough, cough.
Right, right, right. I do like Reggie can't tweet on Twitter without everybody underneath him being like Mother 3 or whatever.
Yeah. He
That poor
deserves it.
guy, that poor man.
He deserves it. He could.
No, no, I always laugh because like he trolls people. He'll post a picture for like what did he do for Mother's Day last year? He posted something for Mother's Day where it was like the less than 3 instead of a heart, and people were like, "Really? Like Mother 3? Like come
Oh my
on."
god.
And
I
he's like,
love it.
"What? What do you want?"
Claire said, "Did they poke at Breath of the Wild at all?" They did not.
They did
But they
not.
did say that this direct will be more focused towards the front of the first half of this year.
Yeah.
They did pepper out some stuff that would be a little bit more beyond the first half, but yeah, we didn't get any info on Breath of the Wild, so I'm hopefully that we'll see some maybe during E3, or if they have a direct shortly after. I think they had like a direct shortly after E3 last year, didn't they?
I think they did like a Treehouse Live segment or whatever they call that.
Yeah.
Which last year they showed Silksong, I think.
Yeah. So I would expect something in June, maybe during E3 or shortly after, and we'll probably see some more info on Breath of the Wild. Maybe we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like they did a Silksong drop like that day. They love doing that shit.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'll be happy.
And we'll talk about.
They did it with Axiom Verge. It'll be like how they did Axiom Verge too, except it'll be like a good thing.
Yeah, except people
And I'll
want
be
to play
happy
it.
with it. Yeah,
Oh, what a
yeah.
letdown.
Yeah,
Sad
I mean, don't get me
words.
wrong. If you like, try that game for yourself. Don't just listen to me say I don't like it.
Right.
Like, actually try it. Because it's not necessarily like it's bad. It's just not
Yeah, support that is a good
what I wanted.
developer. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Planning to do a playthrough after I'm done with Arceus. Nice. Good. Glad to hear it. So Front Mission, yeah, that's coming out this summer. Also coming out this summer is Disney Speedstorm. If you don't have enough Mario Kart in your life, Disney's coming out with a free-to-play version of it. Yeah. Anyways, it's good.
I am obligated due to my proximity within the mouse that I have to say that everybody please buy the game.
Nice. You don't have to buy it. It's free to play. It's so
Is it really?
Yeah. It's gonna be littered with microtransactions, man.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah, it's gonna feature tracks for like Disney and Pixar games. It'll be cross-platform play. So if you have friends that play this on the PS5 or Xbox or PC, I don't know if it's coming to the PC or not. But yeah, it's all cross-play. It also offers like split screen and online multiplayer, so that'd be pretty cool.
Well, that's awesome because I know all my friends will be getting it for all their consoles.
Oh yeah.
So it's great that we can all play together.
Yeah. So next up, Star Wars Force Unleashed is coming out April 28th. Interestingly enough, it's going to be the Wii version. So it'll have it'll have enhanced motion control support. So that'll be pretty cool to see the motion controls being used on the Switch. See, I haven't played this game much. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, same.
But I'd like to see how they incorporate that into the game. That'll be pretty cool. I guess you start as an apprentice of Darth Vader. I haven't played this game, so.
Yeah, that's correct. So you know how like every Sith Lord has like the apprentice?
Always two there are.
Right, yeah, exactly. And so Vader never had one, right? Like, okay, let me rephrase that because I know that the Star Wars fans are probably screaming at me right now, but like traditionally in the movies, in like 4 through 6, Vader didn't have an apprentice. You know what I mean? And I know if you watch Rebels and Clone Wars and the Star Wars shows in between, or if you read the old comics or other novels or stuff, like there was some of them sometimes. Like I think like Vader trained Asajj Ventress, if I'm not mistaken, who was an apprentice. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, God forbid the Star Wars community can shoot me. But like, there's been times where like I think he did work with people, and I know that one thing people really liked about this game franchise, because there was 2 of them, was that the main character, who, if I'm not mistaken, his name is Starkiller, which also I think was why they called the base in 7 Starkiller Base, was like sort of like a reference. But he was training Starkiller to be his apprentice underneath him, because there always has to be 2. And that rule got like made up later, obviously, because like in 4 through 6 he didn't have an apprentice, and then in 1 through 3 they were like, there's always 2, and then it was like, didn't we not have 2 in the other half though? And it was like, don't worry about it. So like, I think it was cool that they filled in that gap like thematically and made something. And it was cool because like you played as a Sith, and you don't do that in video games very often. Or if you do, it's like watered down, where it's like, yeah, you play as a Sith and you have like 2 moves, but you don't get a whole story. This is like a whole story, a whole narrative around being the bad guy that you don't see in video games as often as you might like.
Sure.
And it was good to get a sequel. And if I remember correctly, both games were maybe not like 10 out of 10s, but I don't remember them getting anything below like a 7 or an 8. I'm pretty sure they were like,
they're pretty
critically acclaimed as like
critically
games.
acclaimed, I would say, at least. I mean,
yeah.
So maybe this will be my chance to go back and play it.
Yeah,
we'll check it out. We'll see what's up.
But yeah.
Also getting a remake. We're getting a lot of remakes. The Assassin's Creed Ezio collection that is coming out February 17th. That'll be Assassin's Creed 2. Was it Brotherhood and the third game in that? I don't know. I think so. Assassin's Creed after the sequel. And you're like, oh yeah, the sun gods are starting, or there's aliens here that are trying to stop the sun from blowing up. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's the thing. You know what it was with me? Can I just take it aside for a second? Because I never played the first Assassin's Creed, right? I didn't get on the bandwagon at launch. And I think with 2, My friend played 2 a lot, and I liked watching them play it at their house and stuff, but I never actually picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brotherhood happened, and I didn't hear much about it, but I knew that I still liked Assassin's Creed, and it still sounded cool. So when 3 came out, I grabbed it, and I had a fun time with 3. I obviously I never played 1, 2, Brotherhood, so I can't compare them to those. And I know those are like the staples, right? Those are the ones everyone compares to as like the good games.
Right.
3 was fine, as far as I can tell. And then at the end of 3, they were like, "Hey, here's this character." So minor spoilers for like a franchise that's been around for like 80 years or some shit. But like, you have this dude in the modern day, and he has the DNA like in his ancestry. He's from a long line of assassins, and the games are you plugging into like a machine and reliving the memories of his ancestors to see how they interacted in the times that they lived in and stuff. So like this dude in the current day is the ancestor of Ezio de Auditore de Firenze de Forza de Macarena. And also like the other people from the games, Connor, whose name, oh my god, I can't pronounce his name because he has a Native American name,
Mm-hmm.
but like they call him Connor. But like he's supposed to be like an epitome of what a awesome badass modern assassin could be if he learned how to use his training. And that was part of the games was like those skills of the assassin's lineage was bleeding through to him the more he
Right.
used the machine. So he was becoming a better assassin just by using the machine. And at the end of 3, they like killed him.
Yeah, it was a
They
bad move.
just they killed him. And I was like, dude, I'm completely I do not care about this franchise anymore because I thought the whole point was that I was going to be a modern day assassin in a modern day era doing cool shit with this company with this plot, and
Yeah.
I'm dead. So like all I have going for me now is, and they were like, well, and in follow-up games they were like, we recovered his body and we kept testing his DNA and found more assassins. I'm like, I don't care anymore though. Like the whole point was that you were building up like this awesome badass assassin in the modern day, and now he's a corpse, and I don't care what else you do with it. Like,
Right. Yeah, the series
I have
fell
no
off for
idea what's
me
happened since. Like,
at 2, and that was kind of like the era where Ubisoft was getting really shitty with their cash grabs and incomplete
yeah,
DLC, incomplete
activity
game
play,
releases and
like it
shit.
was all weird.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I just so I was just like, I see where this is going, and seems like a good time to pull the parachute. I just never went back to the series.
well, and that's the thing. Like, I never like every time they make an Assassin's Creed game, I always like raise an eyebrow at it, and then it's like, yeah, it launched and it was full of bugs and people's faces were missing, and I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad I didn't play it. Like, the only one I
Right.
would have wanted to play, I think, was the one in Egypt because it was supposedly like a reset of a lot of the mechanics and game design side of the game, and it felt a lot more like an action RPG.
Mm-hmm.
And was better. And then the sequel to that was like more of the same of that. So I've heard if you pick up Assassin's Creed now, it's not as bad in that regard. But to my understanding, nobody I know plays that game anymore because they kind of burned their whole fan base.
Sure.
And now it's just, I mean, I don't know how the sales numbers look. For all I know, the sales could be doing great. I just know most of the people who used to play Assassin's Creed that I talk to, none of them have an interest in it anymore. It's like,
Yeah, I got burned out.
or if they do, it's like the Egypt one. And they were like, that was good. And then they didn't pick up the rest.
Right.
I don't know.
I wasn't a big fan of 3. That's I got it for free on Xbox, I think, at some point. So I checked it out, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like the story pacing was a mess. The story.
Oh yeah, dude, it was
convoluted,
absolutely wild.
I just never stuck around for the rest of it. I was just like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
My playthrough of 3 was like I was enjoying the combat and killing things.
Mm-hmm.
I did not really care what was going on in terms of like why I was doing what I was doing or where I was going because none of it was very cohesive or felt very interesting.
Right.
I was kind of actually mostly just excited, like you know how like when you play like the more recent Kingdom Hearts games, like 3, you know that you have to go to Pirates World and help them do Pirates things, and like okay, sure, you're doing Pirates things, but like you and I both know we're waiting to get through the Pirates thing so that like an organization member can like wave their dick at us for 3 seconds and we could be like, yeah, that, and then chase them.
Right.
Like, that's what Assassin's Creed 3 felt like to me. It was like, yeah, I get it. The past happened in the past, things, but like, what's going on with the dude in the future? Like, and that's the bits I was there for. And then, yeah, it wasn't really worth it.
Build up to nothing.
Yeah.
It's not how you treat a story, that's for sure.
No, absolutely.
Well, let's move on. SD Gundam Battle Alliance, that is coming out this year. Again, no date. That looks pretty cool. That has a lot of co-op mechanics in it too. I might check that out. Always been a fan. I'm not like a diehard fan, but I've always been a fan of the Gundam franchises in general. I'm not someone who couldn't tell you specific character names except for maybe like Chimney Crockett, because that's the only
Oh
Gundam
my
series
god,
I've
this
really
is
really
amazing.
enjoyed. But
Dude, G Gundam is amazing.
dude,
I
G Gundam
love
was
G Gundam.
amazing as fuck.
G,
And
you know what we need to do? We need a Discord. We need to do a Discord day where we just stream G Gundam,
dude,
like
I'm
marathon it.
down.
That'd be
I'm
incredible. That'd be
100% down
incredible.
for it.
I love that show. All the rest of the Gundams, like whatever. Yeah, you know, Shinji gets in the robot. I'm sure that's a great Gundam thing. Sure. Is that one? Is that Gundam? I don't know.
We'll
It's
make a
whatever.
Gundam. We'll put it in the
Make a
universe.
Gundam.
If it's a Japanese series that says like Neo Tokyo in it, let's just assume it's in the same universe.
Neo Tokyo. Yeah, everything was Neo everything. Neo America. Neo America was like a trash heap.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Subtle nod, right?
Oh my god. Neo China, Neo Germany. Dude, that was such a good show. It was so campy and so cheesy, but it worked so well.
It did. I enjoyed it.
It was like the same reason I liked Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy when I was younger. Was like this, like you sit there and you watch like Sora do like the My Friends Are My Power, and you're like, this is corny as shit, but like you go, man, like like oh, it's great.
Ha, 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 ha.
Oh my god, the Tidus scene, yeah. Oh
Here's
boy.
one that really threw us for a loop. But again, we did expect it because this is one of the games that was listed on the NVIDIA leak. The Chrono Cross Radical Dreams Edition. So not just a remake, but the Radical Dreamers Edition. So if you weren't aware of this, Radical Dreamers was kind of like a prequel to Chrono Trigger. It's kind of what bridged the gap between Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a text adventure, and it only was on the Satellaview, which I think was like a satellite add-on to I don't even remember what system. I want to say like Super Nintendo, but it could be N64 for all I know. But it was like a Japan exclusive thing. This Satellaview wasn't something that was in America, so we never got it, of course.
Jesus.
Yeah. I think there was some like translations and stuff later on, but I never actually went and read it because I didn't want to have it ruined by like a mistranslation or something like that, so I just never touched it. So this will be cool. I've played Chrono Cross again. I never finished it, but will definitely be there for this game. So it's glad to see Square really dusting off some old games out of their coffers and getting them out there. Yeah, I'm really excited for this. So
that's another cool thing, because like they could have just been like, just been like, hey, look, here's Chrono Cross, you can buy it again, and then people would have bought it. They could have just been like, here's Chrono Cross with the upgrade, like better graphics and visuals or translation or something, and people would have bought that. They went out of their way to add that text adventure that was only on that obscure service as well, and it feels like Nintendo. I mean, I guess it's sort of Square Enix, but like mostly Nintendo in general has been trying to make that happen. It feels like lately.
I think they're definitely getting pushed in a direction of like game preservation, and this definitely helps.
Well, I think it's because we want that, and we keep telling them like to stop not doing that every time they don't do it, and I think they're starting to like catch on now.
Oh, 100%. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. That'll be something I'll definitely pre-order. So that's coming out April 7th. That is approaching quick.
Oh yeah, come to think of it, that is probably something we should pre-order, because it's like, I imagine production on that probably isn't super high.
Right. Yeah, that'll definitely be a physical in my coffers. We got new info on Kirby and the Forgotten Land. That's coming out March 25th, and we got to see a demo of Mouthful Mode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So no one's gonna meme that. 100% not. It hasn't been.
No, yeah, no one's gonna. Yeah, Kirby definitely, like Kirby eating a traffic cone and turning into a big traffic cone definitely hasn't become anything else yet.
Yeah, but that'll be cool. It'll be nice to see. It's nice to see them experimenting with open world mechanics. In any Nintendo franchise, I guess. This one's definitely going to be unique. I'm definitely looking forward to playing this 100%. So, yeah, look.
Like it gives me Odyssey vibes in all the right ways.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Yep. Yeah, so that is coming out March 25th. So watch Kirby get a whole mouthful coming March. Oh man, I made him crack. MLB The Show 22 is coming out April 5th. This will mark the first...
Please, if you're watching or listening at home, do not Google Kirby gets a mouthful.
Oh man, I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna say it. I'll say it after stream. Um, we'll save it for the after stream after party. So MLB The Show 2022, that's getting a release April 5th. This marks the first time Nintendo's getting an MLB game. I believe this is a Sony title, isn't it?
Yeah, MLB's the show was a Sony title
Okay.
only, and then I think last year
Came to the Xbox.
it was the Xbox as well, and
Yeah.
now this year it's on the Switch as well.
Here's something cool, and I'm glad to see this. It's getting cross progression and cross save on any platform, so you can kind of save where you left off on PlayStation, grab your Switch, pick up where you left off on the go. Also supports obviously cross-play. So yeah, I definitely like to see this. It's good to see games starting to embrace this cross-platform, cross-save stuff. And of all people, Sony, because Sony was kind of pretty against this kind of shit a couple of years ago. So it's good to see that they're embracing this.
Yeah,
it's definitely
the same thing.
Pivot, we're seeing it with Sony. So
yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Even if you didn't mention it, I was gonna go out of my way to point out that they did that because it feels like one of those moves a lot of companies don't make very often, and we should be encouraging that.
100%.
I'm not saying to go out and buy baseball if you don't like it. Obviously, you shouldn't play a game if you're not interested. But I hope that in particular is something people respond positively to.
Sure. We see stuff like what's the game? Fortnite. Fortnite has that cross-play. I mean, that was like probably like the first initial huge push for cross-platform play. And then we saw stuff like, oh boy, Destiny.
Minecraft was good about it.
Destiny get cross-play. This one, someone fought tooth and nail about, and they were basically saying, or was it? Maybe it was Fortnite said it was Destiny saying that they're not going to support the crossplay because they don't have to or whatever. But glad to see that we got it. I'm going to put this box back before I break it.
Yeah, I know. Some games had talks and the talks broke down. Like FF14 was supposed to be crossplay on Xbox a long time ago, and it never worked out because they didn't want to use the servers,
which is
the Square Enix servers or something like that.
Yeah, Xbox wanted their own internal servers. It's like, get the hell out.
And they also wanted to charge people gold on top of the sub, which they weren't a fan of. Because like with PlayStation's like if you have the sub, you don't need the plus. And Xbox was trying to do like they still need gold or whatever. And they eventually backpedaled that position, but I think the server position still stood, which was a problem. But no, Minecraft was a good example of that as well, because Minecraft was very quick and very good about getting multi-platform crossplay up with it, even like with their mobile version and stuff. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think even the phone version of Minecraft links to like the regular ones. Although I've never tried it.
Mm-hmm.
Or something. Yeah, there's one. I forget what version it is, but there's a version that doesn't work on with everything else. Oh, it's like the old Xbox 360 version. I think was called like it had a different name. And the current iteration of the game is like the Bedrock edition, and Bedrock is like all the current gens and everything. So if you have like the 360 or older, or the 3DS or whatever, the old ones, they don't work anymore with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's just.
Oh my god, dude! Don't even get me started about the Nintendo 3DS. How they like Minecraft was one of like 2 games that you needed a new Nintendo 3DS for, and then they like killed it immediately.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, never mind. Nobody plays it on this. Oh, it was wild.
Don't even get me started on that either.
The new 3DS.
Right. What do you need this for? 6 games. Oh. Trust me. That was they needed the new 3DS to play SNES games on it too. Like, trust me. The 3DS isn't powerful enough, and like the whole mod and hacking community was like, well, that's bullshit. Because
dude, my favorite part. Well, my favorite part about that was they were like, "Oh yeah, the new 3DS is the system that has to play Super Nintendo games because that's where it's got to be." And then like, I would open my 3DS and be like, "I have the Ambassador Pass and I have Super Nintendo games right here," and they were like, "That's different. That's different." And I'm like, "But what do you mean? I'm playing Super Metroid right now." And they were like, "Yeah, but no, like it doesn't count. Like it doesn't count. What do you mean?" Oh man,
they're just
wild days. Wild days. Yeah, because I remember we mentioned like the Super Nintendo thing like on the Game Boy, and I was like, I know I had them in the Ambassador Pass, but I thought they came later. But then I remember they did come later, and it was like only the new 3DS got them or some shit, and it was really bizarre. Their plan for those. no idea what they were doing with that, but I mean, I guess it's whatever. I mean, dude, could you imagine if the OLED Switch was just called like the new Switch, and it was the only system that could play Metroid Dread or something stupid? People would have like a field day with that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Good stuff. All right, so next up here we have the Kingdom Hearts Trilogy Cloud Edition. that actually came out the day after the Direct, I believe, or the day of. I'm not sure.
So, yeah.
But I have not heard a single person talk about this on any social media site whatsoever. So hopefully,
yeah.
I don't want to say hopefully, but I mean, I'm thinking that this probably didn't do the numbers that they're expecting to. I'll see if I can find some numbers for next week's podcast. But
dude, I will tell you, as like on Twitter, because on Twitter I mostly follow game devs or like game content creators,
right?
And like I've got a few big names in the Kingdom Hearts community that I follow, and every single one of them, no matter how nice they are, no matter how much of like a Square Enix or like a Sony or a Kingdom Hearts like diehard fan they are, or like a simp or anything, even the most diehard Kingdom Hearts fans are literally saying don't buy this game.
Good.
And it's not because it's bad in general. It's just
it's a bad practice.
It's a bad practice. Like, it's not what anybody wanted. It's not delivering on anything that people are expecting. And everybody that I could think of, if I go look up people on Twitter right now, the big names, like they're all like, don't buy this.
Right,
you know,
right?
Wait, like buy Kingdom Hearts merch if you want to keep putting money into Kingdom Hearts. If you want them to know that we still want more Kingdom Hearts products, buy merch or do this, do that, whatever. But like, this is the one thing you don't spend the money on because you don't want this to be a thing they keep making.
Don't let them scapegoat it. Like, keep them, keep buying the merch, but don't let them like scapegoat. Like, oh, I guess this series isn't as popular. It's like, no.
Sure.
like,
and it happens from time to time, and when you see it happen, you push back. Like we had like, what was it? Final Fantasy 15 came out with like a Switch edition, but it was like the Chibi edition, and it was nothing like the regular 15. And then you could tell it was the mobile phone port of that game, but they brought it to the Switch instead of giving the Switch the real game. And it was like, okay, I get it that it probably wasn't the easiest thing to try and port to Switch, but like Doom got ported to Switch, and no one is going to say Doom looks pretty on the Switch, but that port exists. It's doable. If you really wanted to port to Switch, you could have done it.
Yep. 100%. Yeah, I totally disagree with it. I mean, at the end of the day, they could have at least put 1 and 2 on the Switch and said, okay, the third one we got to stream, or make the fucking port. They could have made the port.
Yeah. And people love to like, 1.5, 2.5, they're PS3 games that are emulated as PS4 games, and it's like, yeah, but they're PS3 games that are remakes of PS1 and 2 game or PS2 games,
right?
Or Game Boy Advance remakes to PS2, and like
I played 10 got a remake on the Switch, the remake edition on the Switch.
Well, dude, I was just gonna say, game. Didn't Final Fantasy 10 made it? I think 12 made it. Didn't Zodiac Edition come to Switch?
Sure did.
So if you're going to tell me PS2's Final Fantasy 12, which you know as well as I do, when a new numbered Final Fantasy comes out, it pushes the system usually, or at least as much as they get away with. If that game can be on PS2 and then get ported over to like the Switch, I can't imagine that we couldn't handle 1.5, 2.5, even 100%. When they're cleaned up and they look pretty and PS3, whatever. Like, I mean, shit, I could probably find PS3 games that got ports to Switch. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we're seeing, like you said, stuff like Doom come over. There's plenty of modern stuff.
Right.
Witcher 3, for Christ's sakes. I mean, again, it doesn't look pretty.
Oh yeah, dude. Witcher 3 was a PS4 game or whatever. Experience. That's a current gen game at the time, right? Like, that made it over.
Sure is. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll move on. Just don't buy it.
No, don't buy it.
Klonoa,
dude, one of the biggest Kingdom Hearts fans in the world right now. I love this franchise so much that I actually am not wearing my necklace for one time. Holy shit! But I have a Kingdom Hearts ring on, so there's that. Yeah, dude, I love this franchise more than anything. Don't buy this game.
Right. I agree. I used to be a diehard Kingdom Hearts fan too. I haven't touched the series in a while. I think they took too long to get 3 out, and that's totally fair. Just not a focus.
I'll play it for you. So I'll play it twice. Once for you.
Stream it, man. No.
Yeah.
Put it on the list.
Oh my god.
Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series that will be coming out July 8th. That is a remake of obviously the original Klonoa. It's also getting packed in with Klonoa 2, a game series franchise I'm not really too familiar with. But it looks like a pretty decent side-scrolling, 3D game. I'll definitely probably check that out. It looks pretty good, so I'm there for it. And you know how I am with physical copies of remakes. I gotta have it on my shelf. So
Yeah, I kind of want to look at that game again because, like, so I never played Klonoa or 2 or whatever, but there was something really weird about the game's design that kind of stuck out to me, and I couldn't put a finger on it during the direct. And I realized after the fact, I think I saw what it was. Is that a PlayStation 1 game?
that's a great question. I kind of want to say it came out in like that whole franchise rush of like 3D platformers like Croc and all those games that just never got like a sequel. It looks like it came out on the Wii 2008, but that doesn't mean it's not a port. Yeah, I'm seeing stuff coming out from like 2002, Klonoa Beach Volleyball, and I think that's a spin-off too.
Yeah, it was. Klonoa was launched with Door to Phantom Mile for the PlayStation.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So the first game was a PlayStation game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, because you know what it was? There's so here, look up a game real quick for me on Google called Tomba 2, Tomba 2.
Mm-hmm.
And just go look at it like on the images or something. And
oh boy.
Tell me this doesn't look like another game like Klonoa where like it almost feels like there was a period of time when the PlayStation was like in its heyday where people were just spitting out these like 2D, 3D games where like it's a 3D game but you're on a 2D track.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's that whole era. Like I said, it's like that whole era where like they had the like that game Croc.
It's isometric 3D, like, right? Like
right,
not open world 3D, but like you can walk lanes and stuff. Like, and it messed with me because I don't know anything about this Tomba franchise either, except I played 2 when I was probably like middle school age, and it's another one of those games where it's super campy and cheesy and it's dumb puns and everything, but it's an awesome game. The gameplay is actually really good. And I've 100% of this game just because it was investing to play the mechanics and everything. It was really wild. And then people were like, "Oh yeah, what's your favorite PlayStation game?" I'm like, "Oh, the Tomba 2 was great." And they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "I honestly don't know, but I played it and I loved it." Like, and seeing Klonoa running around, I was like, "Dude, this looks just like Tomba to me, where it's like a random franchise with a random character with a funny name and a funny appearance, like doing the 2D, 3D isometric moving."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Was this just a thing at the time? Did PlayStation just a bunch of developers for PlayStation all just spit out the same idea at the same time?" So I was like, I'll have to look into that more because I feel like there was a lot of these.
That whole era was just full of that shit.
Was that right?
Yeah, 100%. It was just like it was almost like they were fighting to become like the franchise icon of
the 3D Mario, right, or the 3D Sonic or something. Sure,
right.
Yeah.
PlayStation didn't necessarily have
Crash
like their Mario or their Sonic. They had like Crash
Bandicoot. Oh, they didn't even really have a Crash or Spyro yet, right? So it would have been the same era as them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
It was funny. I mean, I wonder how many like little gem games there are in there that were actually interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I keep bringing up Croc because that was a good one. That came on a PlayStation demo disc, I think, with the game. That was a really good platformer too. I enjoyed that one a lot.
I feel like that happened a lot.
Another one. What's up?
Oh yeah, I remember that. I feel like that was a common trope in that time because like I remember there was a game that I had a free demo of. I don't remember what game it came with, but I had a game that came with a demo. Actually, I think it was 2 games that both proved the same point. One of them was called like, oh, I'll have to remember the name of it. It was a Final Fantasy wannabe. It was a 3D like RPG with like traveling the world, sci-fi and magic and robots, and it was very much a Final Fantasy game, but like not a Final. Like, does that make sense? Like, it's trying to do Final Fantasy. What was it?
Star Ocean?
No, it wasn't Star Ocean. It was like. It was definitely like a B-list like attempt at a Final Fantasy game. I'll try and find it on Google and see if I can find it for you, and send you something later about it. And it packed in with like a demo disc for another game called Jade Cocoon, which oh boy, Jade Cocoon was literally like Pokemon, like it wanted to be Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would catch monsters and you could fight with the monsters to fight the other monsters, and or you could fight yourself against them, and then like you caught different breeds of monsters, but then it had like the like you could like breed them, I guess, and make like another monster. And it was very much one of those like it came out when Pokemon already existed and was already big, but it was a 3D game doing the Pokemon thing, and it never took off. But like, I feel like a lot of that happened where like dozens of studios came up with similar ideas around the same time and spit it all out, and like only like a couple stuck, like Crash and Spyro. Like everything else got
100%.
buried.
100%. I mean, even Monster Rancher was
It's
trying to do Pokemon to an extent.
yeah, it's so funny because like some of these games weren't bad. I mean, maybe it's like a nostalgia thing. Playing them as kids or teenagers, they felt better than they do maybe as an adult now.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I have fond memories of some of these games just because they attempted to do what my favorite games did, and sometimes I played them first, or they did things differently that were interesting. And I wonder how many buried gem mechanics there are dipped in these games that like, it's a burned down building, but like this one glass thing survived because it didn't melt. So like this thing was really cool, and this in a new game would be cool. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Dude, there's an ocean of them. In the PlayStation 1 era, there is a fucking ocean of them, man. 100%.
I'll have to do some digging. Oh my god, I just made the worst mistake of my day. I googled I googled PlayStation 1 RPG. This isn't good. There's a lot here. Yeah, we might as well move on. I'm going to be here all day.
That's fine. All right, so up next, we have Portal Companion Collection. That is coming out again this year. No date on that one. This will be pretty nice. I was hoping to see like if they would do if they would do anything. I was hoping to see like an orange box. I think Team Fortress would be fucking dope as shit on the Switch. Why not just have Half-Life? Half-Life on board with it too. Why not? But still, Portal 1 and 2 is pretty awesome. And then the sequel, of course, being like the multiplayer one, that will have online player modes and everything too. So that'll be pretty cool. Again, that is coming out this year. Another big one that came out here or was announced. This is coming out July 22nd. Live Alive. Again, Square digging into their coffers and blowing some dust off some old franchises. This one never came to the West. So this one is coming out July 22nd. This is coming for the first time here. And this one's getting the HD 2D treatment that we saw kind of with like the triangle strategy look. What's another game that really kind of pioneered that look?
Oh, there was Project Con Strategy and what is one Dark had me start and then never finished? Where you play as the guy and you beat up townsfolk. Octopath.
Octopath.
But there's another one. They just did.
Final
they
Fantasy
redid.
6 is getting the remake, getting that treatment too, isn't it?
No, that's not the same people. But they're doing what was it? It's the third Dragon Quest game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
got it. Got an HD 2D from the same people. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to see them do that. Give these games that treatment. I'd love to see what they can do with more of these. But yeah, so this will be the first time that's coming to the West. This is kind of one of those games where it's like you get like different characters, you play a little bit of story out of it. I hope it's a little bit more in depth than something like what's the Saga Frontier? Like Saga Frontier was kind of the same, but the writing was just not there. I think it was just a lot to bite off, a lot to chew for the time. So I just the storyline in Saga Frontier was just kind of beat. It's like there's a lot of game there, but it just seems empty. And the story isn't deep. I guess it's a mile wide, but it's like an inch deep. I'll say that much.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'll check that one out. I'll definitely get that one a peek. I'm sure that'll get a physical release too. And then the big one, well, one of the big ones, I would say. I think probably one of the bigger ones. No one was really expecting this one, save for maybe a few people saying, "Oh yeah, we should get a sports game." Wii Sports or Nintendo Switch Sports is coming to the Switch April 29th. They are going to. It's weird that they got rid of the pitch or the baseball one. But they're bringing back 3 game modes: tennis, bowling, and chambara. which is, I guess, kind of like a joust game where you stand on a platform and try to beat your friend off the platform. They decided to keep that over baseball, which is really weird to me.
I'd, I'd like to point out the correct name for that game is Struggle from Kingdom Hearts 2.
Nice.
That's like literally what that is. Like
pretty much. They're also bringing out soccer, which is wild to have this soccer come to this, and then also be releasing Mario Strikers. But that one is getting the leg strap treatment, so it'll have like a Joy-Con, kind of like that exercise game that they released. The name is escaping me right now, but it'll have like that leg strap to kind of track your movement. So you can actually set up like precision shots and shit with the soccer ball. That's pretty cool. We're getting badminton and we're getting volleyball as well. This game will support online friend playing, so you can multiplayer. Also have random matchmaking too, so that'll be pretty cool. The random matchmaking, I think, and having both friends be able to play will definitely add some life to this game. And then we also have golf coming out in the summer. And there is an online playtest coming out February 18th through the 20th for all current Nintendo Switch Online customers. So that'll be a big one, of course. That, I think, title pretty much single-handedly carried the Wii through its success, to be honest. I mean, that was a console seller there, 100%.
I think, like, assuming that it does the same sort of thing that happened with Wii Sports and the Wii, which was like the accessibility made it go through the roof for sales.
Sure.
I think you'll see that. And I mean, I guess like what everybody did it for bowling, right? Like most of the time it was like Wii bowling. Everybody wanted. So I guess that's still there. I guess it can't hurt, right? It can't, like, it's not like it's going to be bad or anything.
No, I mean, it just kind of really goes to show that they're really going to, I mean, we're just now getting this. I think it really shows that they intend keeping the Switch and generation going well and alive for a good long time. I would say we're probably just getting to halfway through the life cycle of this game system, so it's good to see that there's going to be a long-term investment as far as buying games for this. I'll be able to enjoy them for a long time. I'm not really sure where they would go after this, to be honest, with the success of the system.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was in the middle. One of the higher ups they just interviewed was talking about it and said that like it was only through the middle of its life cycle, or it wasn't like near the end yet or anything.
Right. Yeah, I'd love to see this game system go for a whole 10 years. I don't see a need. I mean, they're piping along. They're just releasing. They're just knocking everything out of the park right now.
For sure,
it's incredible. So, then we got a announcement here. Oh, I'm gonna fuck this one up. Taiko no Tatsugen Rhythm Festival. It's a drumming game.
Oh, the drum game.
Yes. Yep. That's coming out this year. That will be coming with a paid subscription to access over 500 songs, which is pretty insane. But it's also getting some exclusive Nintendo songs, like Zelda, stuff like that,
Right.
So they'll be getting that kind of stuff. I don't know much about this other than what I have here. So if you have is this like a famous arcade game?
Yeah. So way back when I was in Connecticut in the mid 2010s, when I was doing the Connecticut convention, I was in the gaming department. We have like this group would come through every year called Tokyo Attack, and they would bring through the arcade machines. And like by and large, the most popular arcade machine that they would ever bring that seems to show up at every convention is like the Taiko drumming machine, where like you have like the actual drums and you hit them with like the things that it comes with, like the wooden stick things, and it emulates like that sort of like traditional old time Japanese drumming, but like with like rock band style mechanics. And it's always wicked popular because they keep updating the game with like current music. So like if you look at the soundtrack list for what they showed us, like you've got the Legend of Zelda theme on Taiko drums, and you've got like, if I remember right, I know my kids were excited to see on the list, they had Garenge, which is the opening for Demon Slayer, like the season 1 opening. And there was another one that was an anime opening or something that caught people's attention. But like they keep the music current, and you don't really find other avenues for that music. Like you don't see that in Rock Band or Guitar Hero. You don't see that in anything like that often. But they've always been like every convention we've ever had Tokyo Attack come to, that machine is never empty. It's always a crowd, and they're always waiting to go next.
That's pretty cool.
So like it's definitely something like seeing that as like an at-home thing. It probably won't scratch the itch for the people who really like it because they really like the actual dynamic of doing it. But it'll be a cool thing at the very least to like mess around with. I'm sure.
I'm interested to see like what they're going to do for controls for this. Isn't there like a drum thing you beat on at the arcade, or?
Yeah, it's literally like a drum set. Like,
Yeah.
remember how Rock Band had the 4 drums? It's something similar.
Sure.
And I think there's even, if I remember right, the Taiko machine they used to have, I think, has like upper drums, like 2, and then lower, and you could hit up or down. I think I don't remember. That might have been a different machine. I know. I mean, there's a lot of arcade machines that do crazy stuff, but I do know that actually drumming was the point of the machine. So you don't get that on the Switch unless they do motion controls. And even then, like, I can't imagine there's an effective way to do
Right.
distance left and right. Really.
Well, remember they had like the
Without
drum
it being
set
frustrating.
thing. Was that on the N64 or? They had like the drum set for one of those drum. It was a drum game. I forget the hell it was. It wasn't this, but
Oh, bongos, right? DK had
Yeah.
bongos, maybe.
yeah. I know it was a Donkey Kong thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at it now. This game will have like a little drum and some sticks. So
That's cool.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
sure.
gonna be like a big box bundle. So it's like
That's cool.
Yeah, it comes like a little drum set, and that's pretty cool, I guess. Cool.
Neat. Yeah, you guys go for it. Do you?
Right. Go nuts. We also saw some more info with Triangle Strategy. I guess they just wanted to talk about it more. They didn't really go into anything on depth, but they did say we're going to be getting a demo, a playable demo, and I think that is out now. You can play up to chapter
it went up the
3,
day of.
and then that chapter 3 demo game save is transferable to the game when it comes out.
Yep.
So get on that, because that'll probably be like a limited time only thing, and check it out. We also got some DLC, final DLC, Last Course for Cuphead. That is adding on some new levels and content, and a new playable character called Miss Chalice. We also we didn't get a date on that, but we're also getting and some of this is already out, free Metroid Dread update. We're getting Dread mode, which is one hit mode. Basically means you get shot once, that is game over.
Yep.
Whew, that
Frightening
is
stuff.
rough.
Very frightening.
Are you going to attempt it?
Oh, dude. I mean, I don't think so. I think that's a little too tough.
Is one hit like game over, or like checkpoint game over?
Yeah, it's no. Well, I think it's checkpoint. I think it's checkpoint, but still,
rough, dude.
I only say that because like I beat that game several times, and I got pretty good at it near the end of like playing it. And I went back and I beat almost the entire game on the hard mode. I went back and got all the way to the last boss, and I think I put it down for something else. But like, even on the normal mode, clearing some of those boss fights without taking a single hit is raw. Like,
yeah,
some of the mechanics for some of those fights, it's like tricky windows to get through, and your best bet is to just eat the hit and then keep going. Like, instead of trying to botch it, like trying to do multiple things wrong, like you just take the hit and go.
You're literally
so some of that stuff is
playing the
tough.
game perfectly.
Right. I mean, even if it is checkpoint to checkpoint, it still can be rough with like certain bosses or the end boss, because he was not pleasant either. But and then also rookie mode, right, which was the increased healing.
Something a little bit more on my speed.
Yeah, increased healing from anything that heals you.
And
that's cool.
We're also getting a boss rush mode coming in April. So
that'll be pretty cool, dude. You know,
go ahead.
One of my favorite things about that game was like Metroid's always had sequence breaks, but like with Dread, they sort of accepted that the community was gonna sequence break, and they put them in on purpose for like the runners to find, and speedrunners found them. So when on my second playthrough of the game, when I was playing the hard mode, I used one of the speedrunning tricks to sequence break the game. So what happens is like, did you ever play the game?
Dread?
Or not far? Did you play through that at all, or no?
Dread?
Yeah.
I have not touched. I don't even own it yet.
Oh, no, you watched me play a bunch of it, didn't you?
Yeah. I watched you play probably 75% of the game.
Remember the fight with Kraid near the middle?
Kind of.
On your way to the fight with Kraid, like, you can sequence break and go where you're not supposed to go get the morph ball. And then come back with it. And then during the fight with Kraid, you fight his first phase, and then he gets an arm free and he breaks the thing and you fall down. And then once you're down, you just crouch in the corner and bomb, and you go in there and it shoots you into his stomach, and then you just spam bombs in his stomach until he spits you back out, and then he's dead. It just moves to the cutscene where you kill him. So you get to skip the second half of the fight.
So that's going to be
And
the
it's
move in dread
awesome.
mode.
Oh, dude, 1,000,000% that's what I'm doing in tread mode if I have to do that. Like, are you kidding me? It was so good. Because you just skipped it. You were like, nah, I don't want to fight you.
No more, sir. No more.
Actually, I don't know if you could do that in dread mode because I think you take damage when you're in his stomach. I think it hurts you, but it doesn't hurt that bad, so you can just kind of burn through it and leave.
Gotcha.
So maybe that wouldn't work for that, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, oh man, it felt so good to like abuse the game system like that.
I bet. That's great.
But it was awesome.
All right. So we got another big one. I think we all shit our pants when we heard the SNES style music playing. Something bound for the, what do they say? Something bound for the Nintendo Switch.
So yeah, A Legend is Bound or whatever. Yeah.
Right. So we got 2 Earthbounds. We got the original Earthbound on the NES coming out. They're gonna dub that one Earthbound Beginnings, and Earthbound the Super Nintendo version that is also they're both out. They came out that day. So I'm sure a lot of people swarmed to play it for 10 minutes and then put it back down and never went back to it. Just like
I remember this game.
yeah. They released. So yeah.
Right.
I'll probably do the same. that was a great RPG again. No, I beat one of them. I forget, but that was a long ass time ago. But yeah, I had a good time with that. That's a great game. Definitely check that out.
I never played them. I guess they go on the list.
Right, they do go on the list. Zombie Army 4, that's coming out April 26th. This game I'm not going to pronounce right, but I really like the art style of it. It's Getsu Fumaden Undying Moon. That's available now. I really like the art style of that game. It was like almost like a watercolory cell shade mix of some sort. But yeah, that looks pretty cool. I really like that. We got Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles, coming out June 10th. I'm sorry. I'd like that a lot because it's not just. I thought there was just gonna be another fighter game, but this looks like it's like something kind of like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, where you actually play through the storyline and enjoy. Yeah, the storyline kind of presented in a different perspective, I guess you could say. So I'm all for that. I was so worried that this is just gonna be like another fucking fighter. Like we need another another fighter based off an anime series. So cool. I'll be checking that out 100%. I'm loving that series. I haven't watched any season 2 yet, so that's something we probably should do too.
Oh, dude, we should just marathon that in Discord. It's only like 12 episodes.
Cool.
And the last episode went up today. Actually, I'm gonna watch it after this.
And you said like the first 6 episodes are just a retelling of the movie, aren't they?
Well, so there's 7 episodes from the Mugen Train saga, which the first episode is new, and it's Rengoku. Remember the Flame Swordsman? It talks about him going to the train and what happened on his way to the train. Okay. And then episodes 2 through 7 are literally the Mugen Train movie, but like changed up a little bit, drawn out a little bit, maybe filled a little bit, whatever. But like if you've seen the Mugen Train movie, you can skip all that. Perfect. And then the Entertainment District arc is, I believe today's episode is the 12th, and it's the finale. And it's 12 episodes, maybe 20 minutes a piece or something like that. We could easily make a Discord stream out of it one night and just knock out pretty much the entire thing. And it's fucking wild, dude. Like it's because now that we've gotten to the point where like the characters are developed and we know who they are and what they're doing and stuff, we're starting to just like rev up and just go. Like they'll be like, hey, we're going to this new place. Things are happening. Holy shit. And then everything is just go mode. It's wild, dude. You'll love it. You'll see.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Definitely.
But it's all in Japanese right now because they haven't dubbed any of it yet.
I'm one of those guys. I'll wait for the English.
That's fair. Well, I'll let you know when it drops, and we can make a thing out of it.
The only anime series I think I've watched in Japanese, and it was only because it didn't come with an English translation for like the longest time, was Trigun. And that was like I had to get that off of fucking Kazaa because like that was like the only place to fucking find it.
You know what's funny? That's actually really funny because when you were just saying like I was about to be like my next point I had lined up in my head was like there's not many anime that I've seen that have to be English for me. Like most anime you've seen the Japanese version at one point or another. Right. But there's some shows where like I've only ever seen it in English. So when you see it in Japanese, it's like fucking weird, right? And for me, those big three ones are like Cowboy Bebop in Japanese is weird for me. Full Metal Alchemist in Japanese is weird for me, and Trigun because I've never seen like a frame of Japanese Trigun. So like
Wow.
seeing him in Japanese is like, what is happening?
You know what's wild? I have not
Like,
seen the English of it. I know
really?
it came to something weird. Like, did it come to like the Sci-Fi Network or some weird shit when they had their anime block like years ago?
Maybe.
But
I
I
know
think
all
like
I
I
can
caught
tell
like an
you.
episode of it or two, and it wasn't enough for me to like stick around because I'd already seen the series. So
Right. Here you go, dude. This is on my wall right next
oh
to my computer. This
man,
is the dude who does Vash Stampede, Johnny Young Bosch,
wow,
signed it.
that's wild,
And
man.
he wrote Love and Peace on it for me.
That's pretty
It
dope.
was one of those times back in Connecticut at ConnecticCon, because I'm working the convention and I'm not just in the department the whole time. I can kind of go do stuff.
Yeah,
So I made sure to go see him, and I got two pictures. I got that one, and then I got I was gonna get the one of him like half Green Ranger from Turbo, but they didn't have any more of that. So I told him, I was like, I was looking for that one. He's like, we're sold out of it, and I'm like, okay, well then I'll just take, then it's I guess I'll just take something else, the regular face shot of you. And he's like, okay, yeah. So he hands me that, and he writes it, gets Morphin Time up it, and he signs it.
nice.
And he's like, I feel bad we didn't have the one you wanted though. And I was like, well, it's not a big deal. And he's like, is there any other ones that you like? And I was like, dude, how can I not like the little Vash picture? And he's like, all right. He takes it and he puts Love and Peace on it and he handed it to me. And
That's cool.
he didn't even charge me for that one. I was like, dude, it's fucking awesome. This
That's a
guy's
good
nuts.
dude, man. I love it.
Right. Like he just wanted people to have a good time or whatever. It was great. He was such a good dude.
Yeah, that's really
But
cool.
yeah, he was cool. And he, like, we talked about it before. He does voices for everything, dude. He's been in all kinds of media.
Yeah, you're telling
I
me
think
he's like in a little
on
bit
one
of
of the other
everything.
podcasts we went on, like he was just in game, movie, anime shows, like everything. It's wild. God, dude, imagine that life. That's cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that'd be a dope as shit. All right, so next up we had these are part of this like little quick blurb they had. This is the fourth game, fourth game in this series. Lego Brawls, that's coming out in June. Yet another franchise that is flooding this space. That Smash Brothers, I guess. Obviously they completed their characters are, and no one knows where they're going from here. Sakurai's pretty much walked away. I don't know if he is we don't know what he's doing. I don't think he's really said anything official.
Oh,
So
Sakurai? He's
yeah.
doing the Kirby game.
Okay. Well, I mean beyond that. I
Oh,
mean,
beyond
yeah,
that, we
yeah.
have no idea.
Right. So what do you do with Smash Brothers at this point? I don't know. Do you make the game again and then make other character packs and buy these characters again? Like what do you do? I just
You do the Smash demake, and it's like all like 32-bit.
yeah, right. I don't know what you do at that point. So I mean, it's kind of like at that point where it's peaked, and I mean that brings me to another point. Well, we'll get into that later with another game here, but another game keeps coming up in this list. These lists of game releases. I don't know what it is. 2 Point Campus. That's coming out May 17th. It looks like
Oh
some kind of
yeah,
sim game.
dude. You know what's funny about that game?
But
That game's been like, what do you call it? Like all these like, like E3 events or these events where like they'll roll footage of like a bunch of games
this game is
in between the
always
games that are
there.
important. That
Yes.
game's always there, dude.
Yeah, man.
It's literally like some weird Sims game,
Right.
or like at a college campus or something.
Looks like it's done in the same style as the animators of Wallace and Gromit. If
Yeah,
I can be
yeah.
correct about that, yeah. So that's coming out May 17th. I don't know what the hell it is. Someone in the comments let me know below. I don't know. And that's about it for the biggest chunk of this stuff. So we're gonna kind of wrap up into Nintendo's two biggest announcements, and that'll probably call it a night here. So, of course, this is something that we've talked about quite in depth a bit before on the podcast and in general passing. Mario Kart get 9 or 8 or deluxe, whatever it is, getting DLC. 48 tracks remastered from previous games. I think this is probably the move that they needed to make with this game. I think it's a little late, but I think it's still a good move.
Agreed. Good move, but like, why did they wait so long?
Yeah, it just kind of goes to show. It's like we've been like, well, are we going to get new map packs? This is something they could have definitely slow dripped out. I would say maybe like 2-3 years ago. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
this was like, yeah, that's
it's
wild. I remember
there's we haven't
even
seen
in the
anything,
commercial,
right?
well, even in the direct, they were like, "Hey, did you like Mario Kart 8 from like since 2017? Because we're getting new content." And it was like, "It's been 5 years. Like, what do you mean you're not getting new content?" Like,
Right. Um,
oh
yeah. So
man,
that's the frustrating thing. It's like so this whole time they could have added the game was capable of taking on more DLC and adding in new tracks, and this whole time they couldn't have, which is kind of frustrating. I think
yeah,
that would have been the right approach to go. I'm just glad that they're getting around to it now. I will say that though, for $24.99, we're getting 50 tracks. That is awesome. Um,
it's absolutely good value.
yeah, people are complaining that there's like some of these tracks are a different graphical downgrade or whatever, but I don't know if I'm on board with that. Also getting some tracks from Mario Kart Tour, which is the mobile only Mario Kart, so it'll be cool because this will be
That's cool.
certainly my first time with a lot of these tracks, even though they've been out for a while. I'm just not into mobile games. Don't go near them.
Right.
So yeah, I'm excited for that. This is one of those things where it's like, where does Mario Kart go from here? Because this game is still so successful. I think again, just like we were talking about with Smash Brothers, do you start over and only release a game that has like a handful of tracks again? Doesn't make sense at this point.
But
Um,
that was the problem they had with like Smash 4. With
mhm.
Smash 4, they cut characters and they cut stages, and they tried to like get it back under control and then release DLC style content, and people were like, "Oh, but like we're missing characters, we're missing that and the other, and like whatever about it."
Sure.
And then and like it's that problem. It's like, Final Fantasy 14 has this problem, but they've solved the problem by just making the game continuously go on forever and
Right.
adding to it. And like, do you just do that with Smash? Is Smash just like another wave of DLC and more character? Like, you could. I don't think anyone would really complain that much. Honestly, you go ahead and port this game for the next 10 years and keep packing full of characters that you can get away with.
Sure.
But I
That's
don't know how that would even work past the Switch, because I feel like a lot of the licensing already is probably locked only to the Switch.
100%. That's yeah.
So I
So
have
you're
no
gonna have to
idea how they
go
would
back to
move
the drawing
that.
board and negotiate all those contracts. I mean, that's rough.
And dude, they have to go back to Square Enix and Disney and like a
Yeah.
bunch of big people for the Xbox to get like Banjo Kazooie again. Like, I don't know. Sony for
Right.
like Metal Gear.
And it's like you can't guarantee that they're going to want to renegotiate, and then you're just going to get fans that are pissed off. So,
Right.
these of all the games as a service games that are out there, I think Mario Kart and like Smash probably make the most sense, where you just
Yeah.
keep adding on content
Because you
ad
don't need it to
nauseum.
do anything other than what it does now. Yeah.
Right. What would you do in a Mario Kart 9 situation or a Mario Kart 10 situation that you aren't already doing? And the problem is with these games that are like these compendiums of all these characters or all these tracks, is that you're now competing with the memory of the the previous game. Um,
Sure.
so you release Mario Kart 9, it only has like 20 tracks in it. It's like, well, people are gonna be like, well, what the fuck? I can just go play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's got 48 tracks plus all the original tracks plus the DLCs from the Wii U. It's like, we're talking
Sure.
about almost three generations of development now, because this was originally a Wii U game that would be ported on the Switch, and now we're talking about the next generation but after the Switch. So yeah, I
I think
think.
like,
Go ahead.
yeah. Well, I've noticed like, I think it's like we've had this sort of discussion before about like the limits of the technology and how they move from one console to the next console, and how like a lot of that growth comes from the ability to do new things with that console. Like, you go from Nintendo to Super Nintendo and you get the extra sound chip layers, you get the extra graphics capabilities, bigger memory. And then you move to the N64 and now you can do 3D. And then you move to the GameCube and now you can do very good looking 3D and bigger stuff. And then
Right.
each new console is an improvement. You don't have that anymore. Like, yeah,
Right.
the Wii U to the Switch was a jump, and the Switch to whatever comes next will be a jump, but it will not be as drastic, and you won't be able to like Smash Ultimate could have hundreds of characters. There's not like real limitation on that. So, and like your only way to extend on that would be like to make the next console and then make the next Smash for that have 500 characters, which isn't going to happen. No, you can't. You can't do that. Like,
Right.
so that this is the first time in a long time, maybe even ever, where like a game like Smash is like, each new version of Smash was like technical limitations being broken. Now you can have 8-player Smash. Now you can have 100 stages. Now you can have this many characters, and that's not really a problem anymore.
Yeah, character limits aren't even a
Like
thing
you
anymore.
can't
That's like
right, like that stuff. That stuff's not a problem anymore. You've seen the Smash select screen. It's 90 characters or some shit. 84, 85 characters or whatever. Like
right.
you can't. But like, what are you
Where
gonna
do
do?
you
Make
go
that
from
2
here?
pages? Like, what are you gonna do? Make it 2 pages of it, and it's all each page is like 100 characters. Like, oh
Right.
my god. So I think you've hit that point now where like, and we're not turning that corner again. We're not moving from 3D to 4D. We're not moving from Switch to like some other crazy thing that's a new tech that we've never heard of that lets us do a bunch of things we couldn't do before.
Sure.
That's not a thing anymore. It's just not.
And with
The only exception to that would be moving into like VR or AR, and we're
Exactly,
not.
right.
Like Smash isn't moving to that.
With
Smash
a
isn't going to be a
perspective
VR
fighter,
AR
you're
game.
never going to get VR out of that. Exactly. Thank you. That was exactly where I was going with that.
And you see this with like, you know, Mario Kart. Mario Kart has the same problem. You're not really going to make Mario Kart any better anymore. Like you can add to it, and that's about it. You can't really like make a new Mario Kart that is mind-blowingly better than the old Mario Karts because the tech is no longer a hindrance. And I think that's why you've seen those specifically Mario Kart and Smash. Both were like they ended, and then like a bunch of things flooded in to take their place.
Right.
Like
those companies are
Mario Kart was a slow drip.
They don't know. Nintendo kind of wrote themselves into a corner. They don't know where these games are going to go from here. So why not take up the market space?
And I know Mario Kart was like a slow drip because people weren't sure what was happening. So like, you know, Crash Team Racing got a remake, and then maybe like Xbox and PlayStation had that one racing game that was sort of Mario Kart-ish, where like you had real cars and they would get like missiles and stuff, sort of like a la Twisted Metal, but like only on tracks and stuff. But then all of a sudden it was like all in one burst. It was like Disney's making a racer, Final Fantasy's making a racer, and I think I'm missing another one. Sonic or somebody, some other franchise also made another racer again.
Corner. But yeah, and you look at all the Brawl games that are coming out.
Like,
Nintendo,
yeah.
Nickelodeon's getting one. DC's getting, not DC, but Warner Brothers is getting one.
Warner Brothers got one.
Getting one. Lego now is
getting one. Got one. And now Lego's getting one.
Yeah.
And you already had the competition with things like Brawlhalla and like these other free-to-play ones or whatever. Like, but it feels like literally the day like they were like, we're not making any more Smash DLC, and we mean it this time. And then like I swear to God, over the next 3 months, it was like DC fighting game, Nickelodeon fighting game, and now the Lego fighting game, like all back to back. Like the day that they were able to confirm Smash definitely wasn't making more content. They were like, quick, let's make our Smash game.
100%.
And I think that's because of the medium, like because you don't have that limitation, it's an easy enough thing to clone now because you've seen the peak of Smash Brothers and the peak of Mario Kart. It's the games that they currently exist. The only other thing you do to change that would be for Smash to add new characters and therefore dip into other franchises, which if you're DC or Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, you can do that 100%. With your franchises. You know what I mean? So there's a market. No matter how good Smash Ultimate is, there are some people out there who are like, but I want to play as Batman and the DC characters, but I want to play as Leonardo and Sandy Squirrel. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm sure they're out there. But like, so the only thing you could do at that point would like, your two options are to make your own or to like contract like Nintendo and be like, we like to put our dudes in Smash. The only two things Nintendo could have done with Nickelodeon or Nickelodeon could have done would be like make their own and hope that it sells, or poke Nintendo and be like, please let us have some slots on the next DLC pass. But Nintendo wasn't doing that anymore. I guarantee if there was a third season of Nintendo DLC coming and they had said we're making another 6 fighters, you might not have seen the Nickelodeon fighter 100%. Or the DC fighter, and you might have seen the Turtles as of one character with a bunch of skins, and you would have seen, I don't know, Shaggy as a meme character. I mean, I guess Shaggy wouldn't have made it in because Sakurai would have said not a video game character, but like you get the idea. They would have put in.
He probably wouldn't be. We probably would be talking about him right now.
No, but you maybe would have seen Scorpion because he would have been like video game character, iconic, blah blah blah. We need to get a rep. You might have seen the Turtles. You might have seen, you know, I can't think of other examples off the top. Like I know that there are some mixed in with those two universes that could have been combined in on it. Like. And I guarantee that would have happened if Nintendo had bothered to make a third set, which they decided not to. And even that's a thing where it's like, is Smash ever really done? Are we really sure they're gonna not just like is Sakurai gonna wait 6 months and be like, I have an obligation to make Smash like a relic of gaming history, and therefore we need to keep adding to it. And then they just do. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Or Nintendo. It's not even in Sakurai's hands anymore, especially if you moved off to other projects. Nintendo might just wait like 3 to 6 months as a courtesy period and then be like, DLC. Like,
right.
Sakurai, you want to do it or not? And if he's like, no, they're like, all right, fine. Well, we're doing it anyway. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Who
Well,
knows?
now they're
Like,
in a space that they got to compete in, so now they're going to be like, okay, well, we're going to get some of these characters and just blow these other games out of the water. Make sure that people
sure.
don't even think about it. I will say the one thing that these fighter games do have going for them is that they're going to be like multi-platform. So even if they're not on, they can't compete with Brawl on the Switch or Smash Brothers on the Switch. They're going to compete somewhere else.
There's a market that you can
100%.
compete. Yeah.
All right. Well,
maybe we'll get Xbox version of Smash, and it'll have like Master Chief, the dude from Gears,
all right.
and the Forza car.
Forza car.
Well, that's like the big three, isn't it? Like even at the E3s, that's like the only people they show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
maybe they'll get 1/3 of Master Chief.
We won't. They'll tell you that there's a rep from Starfield, but you don't get to see him yet.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's totally going to be in there.
It's animated concept art.
Starfield man will make it in there.
Starfield man. It's totally not gonna be Fallout in space. Totally not.
It's like Starfield man is just the Starman from like Earthbound, but he's got like the Fallout logo instead of like he's got like the Fallout Boy logo instead of like the
Trust me,
Starman
this is the original
thing. Oh, the original. Oh boy.
Well, the last big announcement, that was probably like the big announcement. I think with the last announcement was pretty solid too.
Mario Kart was crazy,
yeah. Xenoblade 3, that is getting a release on September 22nd. So this one they definitely went out of the bounds of the first half of 2022 to announce this one, but I'm excited for that as well. A great RPG series. So please look forward to it, as they say.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I really like that trailer. Looked really good. I'm there for it.
I have a question for Nintendo about their prolific use of flutes lately. Well, because Arceus was all about running around and playing the flute for people, and now like Xenoblade is also a game about people running around playing flutes for people. So I have questions.
Nice. Yeah, I'm there.
I don't know what they're up to.
I'm there for the flute.
Nintendo's being weird with me.
Maybe they have like some weird marketing feedback, and they're like, flutes are in 2022.
Yeah, well, it's like remember what happened with Final Fantasy that one year where it was like they were like, we're making Shadowbringers, and then World of Warcraft was like, we were doing Shadowlands already, and then like Destiny was like, oh, don't mind us, and it was like Shadowkeep.
Yeah,
and it was like, okay, yeah, we get it. Like, yeah, you guys all had the same idea. You guys, like, all of your creative directors eat lunch together, and they all were talking about doing the same kind of thing. Like,
yeah, it's wild. All the games were haunted that year.
So, some dude at Nintendo like went to sit down for lunch one day, and he looked at the guy at Arceus, and he was like, "Is that a guy like playing flutes?" And you're like, "Yeah, I use the flutes to like summon the Pokemon." And he's like, "Oh, that's cool." And then he like wrote it down and brought it back to the Xenoblade team, and was like, "What if we use flutes to like summon the mechs?" He's like, "Yeah, do that."
Yeah, nice.
Like, yeah, sure. Like, wonder how much that happens. Like, how often like that kind of weird overlap occurs. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was like.
I was gonna say, I wonder if like, because you know what it is, Kirby's mouthful mode kind of reminds me of Mario's like hat possession.
100%.
Because it's the same sort of concept, right? Like, I've taken over the thing, so now I get that thing to do my bidding. Like, in some capacity,
honestly feels like, this was going to be a Mario Odyssey game, but it's not good enough for Mario, so we're just going to make it a Kirby game.
Right? It's like, yeah, it really does, right? It really feels like. Or it feels like they took it feels like they sat down with Odyssey as a prototype and they were like, let's build this but Kirby. And they're like, yeah, well, okay, you eat things instead of, you swallow things, you gain the abilities. Like, because even that specifically, Kirby's never had that as a mechanic, and that feels way too much like the hat possession to like be anything other than an Odyssey, like, not clone, but like an Odyssey companion. Like,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, and it's so funny though, because like I'm not complaining. It looks great. It seems great. I almost just think like Odyssey was such a well-designed game that you can kind of do that with any game franchise, and it would work.
100%.
Maybe not directly the hat taking over, but like the world design was so well done that I think you can get away with that anywhere.
You could do a Pokemon game where it's just Rotom, and he's just going into objects, and he becoming the objects, and that's how you get progress through the game.
Oh my god, you make a Pokemon game where like you play as a Zapdos and you show up 2 minutes before the fight's over and you get murdered,
Oh man,
and whoever kills you wins.
yeah,
That's good design.
very balanced.
Dude,
Good shit.
I feel bad because to this day, like Pokemon will be like, hey, Unite. They just added what's his name, Aegislash, the sword Pokemon,
Mm-hmm.
like Duo Blade, Hone Edge, Aegislash or whatever.
Game that
They're like, we just
Pokemon
added
always
him.
OP ever, always.
Yeah, they were just like, hey, look, we added him in the game. Please come back and play. And I'm like, that's cool that you added that, but I don't want to play.
I'd love to see what their
And then every once in a while, I'll go to Twitter and just look at like their patch notes and stuff. And literally to this day, they'll be like, we added a whole new Pokemon. We added all this events. We're giving away free items and we're giving away stuff. And like the comments are just full of people being like, did you guys get rid of Zapdos yet? Like, please, for the love of God, just change Zapdos. Because it's the only thing people want.
Right.
Like, they give you a bunch of free shit. They give you a bunch of free items and Pokemon licenses, and there's a ton of Pokemon now. But to this day, it's still like, play game. Zapdos is here. You better go kill Zapdos. Did you kill? No, you didn't kill Zapdos? Okay, well, that sucks. Like,
there was that solid week before everyone figured out the whole game was just pay to win, that it was just really good. And I had a good time with it, but I can never see myself going back and playing it.
I think honestly, and that's the other thing that bugs me is the initial thing was like it was supposed to be like the Pokemon in the center could change, like there was like Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres, and then they just like only did the one, and they were like, "This is it," and they just left it there forever. And it was like, okay, all right, great.
Wow.
Like, I don't know. I'd like to see, and the killer is like they have the other maps, and the other maps were more fun to play. Like the 4v4 map was super fun because they had a different Pokemon in the middle, and the map was built differently. But that's not like. But the core game mode is only ever the one map,
right?
With the one mechanic. So
like
it's like, great.
The like, quick mode or whatever it was. I like that a lot, and that I don't think that was as popular as the other game modes, but I really like that. But
oh, dude, and it sucks so bad because I was so hyped to play this game with like a group of people and make it a thing we did all the time because it was awesome together, and then it just did not.
No, they hit a wall. And it hit a wall hard.
Yeah,
and that's how those free games are. They hit a wall and they expect you to fucking pay up, and that's just I'm not doing that. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. So here, check this out. It was. Let me get a date. It was October 19th of last year, right? The 1.2.1.8 update. Go figure out what even that means.
Update.
Zapdos has finally been nerfed in the Nintendo MOBA. Here are the Pokemon patch notes, blah, blah, blah. And people were excited, right? Then you scroll down and you find the stadium. Zapdos. The amount of energy gained after defeating Zapdos has been decreased. But, like, that was the only part of Zapdos that wasn't a problem. Getting energy for killing him wasn't a problem. Everything else about it was. And they left everything else. So it was like, you didn't do anything. Like, okay. It still zaps the other team completely, and it still makes all their goals open, and it still gives you, like, that window to just win the game. I'm sorry you don't win by as much anymore. Like, what do you mean? Like,
nice.
So dumb. And they were like, yeah, we changed it. Okay, great.
We made this tweak that no one asked for. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they were like, we hear you that you're upset about Zapdos, so we changed his colors. Now he's red. And they're like, what? No, that wasn't what we wanted. Like, nobody wanted that. Oh, absolutely insane. Like, talk about tone deaf. Holy shit.
Hell yeah, man. Well, that's all we have for the Direct for this week. This is kind of more of like a special edition episode. We're just doing a whole hell of a lot of focusing on the Direct, and I think I don't know, there's definitely some good releases. I don't think it was necessarily the best Direct, but I think it was the most, I would say, stable Direct, where there's something here for everyone. And if you walked out of here complaining, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this is, I think, probably one of their better Directs, just as far as the content delivery. We're gonna be eating good. These Switch owners are gonna be eating real good this month, in the next couple months too. And this is just the first.
I felt like there was something for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you like, there was a few games for you.
You've got your tactics games, you got your sports games, you got some RPGs, you got some fucking fighters, you got some, ports of some classic retro games. Hello. So yeah, I'm there for it.
Yeah, like if you're a fan of the 2D HD, you've got like Triangle Strategy and Alive Alive.
Right.
Like if you're a fan of like the the old school remakes getting brought back to current, you've got like Klonoa in there, and you've got like the Chrono Cross with the new Chrono Cross mode.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a fan of like old retro stuff, they gave you both Earthbound games.
I'm surprised they didn't
if
talk
you're a fan
about.
of
Oh, you know why I didn't talk about Final Fantasy VI? Because it's not on the Switch.
yep, because it's only
Never
on,
mind.
yeah. And if you're a fan of like cloud games, you've got Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
if you really like having to be on the internet, play an RPG,
an action game.
an action game,
an action game that requires like split second reflexes on a cloud. And
Are you a big fan of action RPG games that you can take on the go but can't take on the go? Then do we have the game for you?
Right. And who's doing their cloud streaming? Because I know it's not fucking Nintendo doing it. It's not an in-house
Oh, thing. Yeah. I saw it when like I tried the cloud demo for like 1.5, and like it's really awkward when you load it up. It like yells at you a bunch about like the timing and like to make sure that you're in a good connection and blah 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 blah. And it's weird. It has like a whole front loaded thing before you get to like the real game where it talks about like being like the cloud service and everything. It's really weird. Like, remember how you played Doki Doki Literature Club on computer, didn't you?
Yeah.
But you've seen what it's like on the Switch, right? How it loads up like a company, like almost like a computer OS first, and then you go find like it's in there.
Yeah. So
that's like what the 1.5 felt like. It was like a thing within a thing, and you had to like, yeah, I get it, to like get in. Like it was weird.
So the paid for special edition game that I got on Steam is like that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And
that would make sense, because that was like yeah, and at least with them, like they did that because that was part of the aesthetic. Like you were accessing computers at a company, and there's information to find, and there's notes and stuff. This was just like this weird, like the Kingdom Hearts cloud was like you had to go through like a bunch of hoops for they were like, you're playing in a cloud, it's download, you good with this, make sure you're in a good safe, check your connection. Like, okay, yeah, I get it. And they're like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then like the demos were weird too because they were timed demos, and the way they were timed was like a hard in-game clock. So like you'd start the game and it'd be like you'd be watching the opening cutscene and the music, and you're like, dun, dun, dun. Like I did it. What game did I play? Birth by Sleep. And I listened to the opening with the music and the cutscene, and then I'm like, okay, start game, pick character, start walking through area, and I had enough time to walk out into the area, walk around, do the jump and the swing the baton, like swing the Keyblade once or twice, and then like it went to the scene with like you talking to Aqua and Terra about the test. And then in the middle of the cutscene, it just cut out and was like, your demo's over. And it kicked me back to the home screen. And I was like, I didn't even play. I jumped and I swung, and I don't even have any idea if I like this game. Like, what are you talking about? And then you can't play again. Like, the demo's locked because you ran out of time permanently.
Yikes.
So you just can't go back in. And I was like, okay, I guess. Like,
wow.
Okay. Really, really weird stuff.
That's really shitty.
Definitely very consumer oriented, their approach.
Yeah, I can't stress enough. Don't buy it on the cloud. It can be experienced anywhere else. Buy a fucking PlayStation if you have to.
I would say like definitely like, I mean, and I don't want to be that guy because I know PlayStation 5s obviously are hard to get, and 4s I believe also are pretty tough to find right now. They've been having a hard time tracking down, but that is the way to play those games. You definitely should get a 4, and you can buy like the complete collection in one shot, and it's everything you need in one package. You just sit down and play it. Hey, even if I'm not mistaken, you can actually get all the stuff, including 3 and the DLC for 3, wrapped up in one nice little package now, without having to do the cloud. So
100%.
And I recommend that because you never know. And even with the best internet on the planet, you never know if you're going to be sitting down one day and it's like I have really good internet, and then sometimes my router, my modem just does this weird like it died, and then I have to call them and they're like, yeah, I don't know, we'll reset it or something stupid. So God forbid.
All right. Well, I think this is probably a good point to wrap it up. Of course, we'll be back next Sunday for another podcast. We'll certainly see what happens this week. We didn't really get a whole lot of anything going on out there.
No, there was there was other little bits here and there through the week. I mean, like Destiny showed some stuff for the new Void rework for Witch Queen. That game Lost Ark caught on really big and it hit like 1 million people. I guess it's like a Diablo 2 style game that's been out in other, I think it's been out in like the Eastern markets like Korea for a while.
Right.
And it's getting a lot of traction. A lot of people are saying it's a free to play game, so of course there's like 20 shops and stuff to buy, but like in general it's worth a dip if you're a Diablo fan,
Sure.
from what I've heard. But it's been pretty quiet. For some reason Activision didn't like fuck up this week. So that was new. And yeah, I think like just getting ready for like you said, this month, next month is like between Horizon and Elden Ring and then Witch Queen and then Kirby and then Triangle Strategy, like
Yeah.
everyone, and then the fact that Arceus came out last month and is doing very well as far as we can tell. Everyone's either got a game to play right now and they're happy with, or there's a game coming very shortly for them. So
Right.
everyone's kind of just chilling.
It's calm before the storm, because that dam's gonna break loose, and we're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff.
Oh man, I already can't wait for the Elden Ring discourse about the story of Elden Ring and how one dude found a dagger with like the number 4 etched into it, and he's pretty sure that it's a reference to like the ancient bird god from the second game that devoured the sun. I don't fucking know. That game's lore is always wild to me.
Right.
But you know I'm talking. You know exactly what I'm talking about, because like you'll like play that game. And, like, have you played any of those before or anything?
Not a one. I played like one for like a minute. And I'm like, this is just not for me.
You'll start the game and you'll like walk down a hallway and some dude will be lying there with a knife in his ribs, and you'll lean down next to him and he'll be like, "Tell Murgarthan like the door still holds," and then he dies, and then you're like, "Okay," and then you go on YouTube and you'll be like Murgarthan, and it'll be like some dude with like a 3-hour video where he's like, "If you take Murgarthan and you extrapolate the individual syllables, they can actually be rearranged into this, which is found on this door in the other game." And was the site of a legendary battle between this warrior and his evil clone of himself that was generated by the dark. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? The dude, like, how am I supposed to know this? And they're like, well, if you actually pause the game and you look at every item's item description that has like a book attached to each of them, you can find all this stuff. And it's like, okay, great.
Sounds
Like it's like you thought. I would say you thought Destiny was bad with like the lore cards they had in the first game. This was like. And I'm all for like this kind of story where you could dig into it yourself, but like holy shit though, they don't tell you anything about it. And you just have to like interpret all of it through like YouTube videos or like digging through pages of content.
Makes sense.
Oh man, it's insane. but you know, good gameplay, a lot of fun, a lot of people like it. And to my understanding, Elden Ring's a little more accessible than the previous games, is what I've been hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know exactly what measure they would use that for, because I know that the hard thing about games like Bloodborne when I played them was that they're very punishing in terms of like how fast they kill you is what it is. A lot of games that you have like a health system tend to like you can get hit 6-7 times, and in Bloodborne it's kind of like a lot of things kill you in like 3 or 4. And I'm guessing that's what they mean by like a less punishing system, is like maybe it's easier to get through combat like that. But even like the most recent game was like Sekiro, and Sekiro also was one of those like if you fuck up you die games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It might just be punishing. I mean, that is what people come for, though, right?
Sure.
For that franchise.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for everyone for tuning in, and thank you for if you're watching on YouTube for watching on here, or watching it or listening to it on your favorite podcast app, whatever that may be. Always appreciate it. If you need help finding us, we are on Twitter and Instagram, Game Dude Retro, and Twitch and TikTok, Retro Game Dude. Join us again. We'll be back Tuesday for Destiny Tuesdays. Gartic Phone coming up this Wednesday, and we'll, of course, Jackbox on Saturday night, and then next Sunday we'll be back with another podcast. So appreciate everyone for coming out, and we'll see you again soon.
Easy.